Look, just look. Just look, thousands of homes. Thousands of homes. This is serious, this is sad. Government should wake up. This is sad. Very, 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 very. I just came and bought 50 acres of land just close to this place to put up my own housing project. But if I look at this, I get sad. I have just acquired 50 acres close to this place. And can we be sure that we're doing the right thing as government? Can we be sure? Are we serious? Anyway, I am calling the president to make good use of this place for the people of Ghana. Or else, very soon, I will invite Ghanaians to come and start living here for free. I think it will be better if they start living here for free. Okay. Look, just listen to the noise. The windows are hitting each other. Boom. Look at it. Open the gate. Here. Yeah, look at how all the glasses will break. All the glasses will break. All the windows will break. Can you imagine? Look at the noise. Yeah, but is it not better than wasting it?
Yes. Look at the inside.
Is it? Huh? The workers, I'm sure those who are working here. Huh? Those who are working, initial workers. What's there? The entrance. This is so sad. Very, very, very bad. Very, very bad. And we are complaining, no, accommodation. And people are crying, looking for places to sleep. And we have wasted this property. This is our taxpayers' money. It doesn't belong to any party. It's not for NDC, it's not for MPP, it's not for APC. It's for the taxpayers. We pay taxes to build this. And we are wasting it. And we sit down and go and borrow money. And this is what we do with the money borrowed. Just for some people to make money, and then we waste it here. This is it. There's no end. We can't even access the entrance. We can't even access the entrance. Huh? We can't even access the entrance. Look, we can't even find an entrance to the properties. Everywhere is trees grown, grass, every part of it. Can you imagine? Your money, our money, government money. You see? You see? What are we going to do with this? Ghanaians who are ready, I am giving government 1 month to work on this. If not, Ghanaians should move and come and start living in these homes. Just move and come and occupy. Just come and occupy. Just move and come and occupy. This is sad. This cannot be acceptable. You see? You hear the noise? Windows hitting and breaking. Just here, you see? Breaking, boom, boom, every second. Look at the roads in the community. If not Africa, will a sensible human being build this and throw it away? If it's your own resources. When we talk, it says we're against government. I'm not against government. I'm against bad leadership of our leaders. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? This bullshit. What is this? Look. Huh? Oh my God. Oh, in Africa. Ghana, our motherland. Let's wake up. Let's wake up. Let's take responsibilities. Let's do what is right against what is wrong. It's our duty. It's our duty to do what is right against what is wrong. We cannot allow this to continue. And we call it leadership. We call it partisan politics. This is not politics. This is wickedness. This, I call it wickedness, not politics. So leaders should wake up. It's not right.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We decided to meet this afternoon on this a sudden short-cutting of affordable, that is how it is termed, affordable housing units that is taking place right now. We have a lot of issues as a minority group in Parliament. We all know that we have over 2 million deficit in housing delivery that we should all help the government in power to address. Unfortunately for us, you know, we were to take there's an agreement between government of Ghana and a foreign company, which necessarily will have to come to Parliament for approval or ratification. But there are a whole lot of issues that have to be sorted out before this approval could be made. Yesterday, we couldn't do it for very good reasons. You know, government on this part is giving state lands to this foreign company and other companies, local companies as well. We were demanding valuation reports of the lands that are being given out to these foreign and the private entities. In the report, they have also indicated that government is going to have 40% stake in the project. 40% stake, we know that the foreign company is providing about $57 million. If government is going to provide on-site infrastructure, roads, water, and other facilities, we don't even know the cost, what government is putting in, but they are giving us 40% stake in the project. So the minority yesterday, we were asking the minister to, one, provide the valuation report of the land. I know the foreign company is going to get about 41 acres of land. So do all the other local companies. So we were demanding that they should give us the valuation reports of the land and the cost of infrastructure that the government is going to put in. Even though we were requesting for that, still the ministry was putting pressure on us to approve it. We have not had the answers. So we were invited to be part of the short-cutting. We said no, because we are not going to support any illegality. I know we have projects that even started from President Kufuor's time. If you go to Asokore Mampong and other places, even though NDC government put in some investment to complete those projects, we couldn't complete it. So our expectation was that this government will rather put in resources to complete the ongoing project, especially the Asokore Mampong and the Sagleme projects. But that is where we are. Nanado and MPP administration, we don't want a situation where government commitment, at the end of it, government will not be able to even fulfill its own commitment to the project. Because we know the previous investment in the housing sector suffered same fate. Sagleme, President Kufuor started without any budgetary allocation. When we were at the ministry, when we were sent to the ministry at first, even though they've started, there wasn't any budget line to complete those projects. The same thing also happened. Government, part of the contract with Sagleme, government could not provide as part of the contractual agreement. And the same thing is being repeated. So we ask ourselves, do we even learn from our past mistakes? I have with me some of our technical people on my committee, and I think some of them may even address the issues better than
Finance Minister.
Thank you very much. I think if you were in the chamber, you saw what happened today. You realize that the expectations of Ghanaians are being met. I'm not saying are met, because it's a process. All recovery processes in the world takes time. It's like development. It's not an event. You realize that the focus basically was on stability and growth within, the framework of deepening the post-COVID recovery. And one good thing is that we're able to even save money. About 20 billion was cut from our discretionary budget, if you realize, and that is almost 9%, which is huge for mid-year budget. Apart from that, you realize that we did not even ask for supplementary budget. And you also realize that the primary macro indicators are now picking up. Global projections in terms of growth for 2023 is 3%. But our first quarter, we grew 4.2. In fact, global economy grew about 2% first quarter. All the reserves and the interest rates and exchange rates are not really there yet. However, you realize that things are really working, have started working. So I think it's all right. We'll really do deeper analysis of it, get into it, in terms of the detailed information, and let Ghanaians know. But the happiness that I have now is that we are on course. We are recovering. We are working towards stability. We are actually working towards growth. That even our first quarter growth is above the global projection, 3%, and now we are doing 4.2. And the globe is even growing 2%, and we are growing 4.2.
Was that the reason why you revised your growth target from 2.8 to 1?
No, not necessarily. But of course, you have a lot of things that you need to handle in terms of data. And growth is always it's a continuous thing. It's not an event. Even right now, there is either growth or otherwise. So it's something that keeps on going. But we have quarterly, we have half a year, then we have a year. Then we do that against global and the continental benchmarks. And we also do that against our own benchmark. So if we are growing beyond the global benchmark, and if we are growing beyond what the globe even grew, and the target and the projections of the World Bank and IMF are development partners, it means we are getting somewhere.
Thank you.
And also making sure that we are not asking more to really bring hardship on Ghanaians. It means that we take into considerations the utility expectation of Ghanaians. And I think it makes sense.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
It is wrong for a minister responsible for finance to say that he has successfully turned the corner. That can never be the case. In fact, according to Adongo, he's not even close to the corner. What he has successfully done, indeed, is that he has deepened the woes of the ordinary Ghanaian. I say this for a simple reason, because of certain factors that the statement has outlined. First, he has revised economic growth from 2.8% of GDP to 1.5% of GDP. This clearly shows that the economy is contracting and it is declining, and obviously it's going to affect jobs and the welfare of the ordinary Ghanaian. Remember that in the year 2022, the overall GDP growth was 2.2%. He announced it was 3.1%. He announced in the 2023 budget in November, when he appeared before us, that the economy is expected to grow at 2.8%. I had indicated to him that with all what is happening in the economy, there is no way Ghana's economy can grow at 2.8%. Today, and finally, the chicken has come home to be roasted. He has informed us that the economy is going down, and to the extent that GDP growth is going to be 1.5% by the end of the year 2023. Even this, I have my doubts. Because looking at all what is happening, if care is not taken, we will struggle to see economic growth at above 1%. As if that is not enough, our minister today informed us, and again in the 2023 budget that was read in November, he indicated that he's not going to borrow from the domestic market at all. Zero financing from the domestic market. Sadly, today he has informed us that he has gone ahead without parliamentary approval and have borrowed from the T-bill market an amount of 5.5 billion Ghana cedis. And as if that is not enough, he's going to borrow another 41.3 billion before the year ends. So, colleagues, no wonder inflation is still going up and rising. No wonder that the central bank is busily increasing monetary policy rate. No wonder that lending rate is still going up. I wouldn't be surprised that at the end of the year, inflation will not make any headway. This is a gargantuan missed opportunity. Ghana had the opportunity to reduce lending rate downwards under 15%. Unfortunately, due to the activities of government, particularly the over-borrowings and over-expenditure from government, Ghana's lending rate and market rates are still going up. T-bill rate not long ago was about 14%. Today we are doing about 23, 24, 25. We may end up in the 30s before the year ends. The third one has to do with the fact that he's saying that the cedi has stabilized. Our brothers and sisters from the media, the Ghana cedi has stabilized relatively because we have defaulted in the payment of our external debt. If you were to look into the budget, by this time we should have serviced our debt, external debt, approximately 11 billion Ghana cedis. Because we have defaulted in servicing our debt owed to Eurobond lenders, China, Saudi Arabia, India, UK, Japan, France, Czech Republic, and many more countries. I don't know of Togo, but it could be that we owe them.
Honorable Minister, just on the light note. So it's good you are here.
If you want to compare the economy of the past government to President Akufo-Addo's government, today's government, Mr. Speaker, I would just pick two areas. Industry was growing at 1% in 2015, around the same time as we speak, whilst industry today is growing at 3%. The Speaker, even in the face of COVID and Russia, Ukraine. The Speaker, even agriculture that was growing negatively in their time, today is having a positive sign in 2022. So it tells a certain story. Mr. Speaker, if you give these two parties or these two governments opportunity to rule Ghana, one of them have the propensity to push this country forward better than the other. And of course, certainly the one that is going to push the country forward would not be them, but it will be us.
Mr. Speaker, I believe as a Ghanaians, if we redefine and change our attitude towards work, if we redefine and change our mind that we are all going to build a nation, I believe that with all this high time, we'll be able to come out from this particular hardship. Mr. Speaker, I know that if you compare the NDC government with MPP, MPP is far better managers of this particular economy. And my friends from the other side can actually attest to it. So, Mr. Speaker, one thing I want Ghanaians to know, that the NDC is not a good manager of this particular economy. Yes. And we have the men, and as I said, that we are rebuilding the nation, and we will build it and fix it. And Ghanaians will realize by 2024, Ghanaians will actually renew the mandate of this particular government, and we will continue and we will break the 8. And let me tell my friends that they should prepare and remain in opposition, because the MPP government is going to actually rebuild the nation and redevelop whatever mess that we have caused, and we are going through to actually ensure that everything is on course.
This media review budget was more of a soundtrack to please the IMF and to play to the IMF and to satisfy the IMF than to satisfy the suffering Ghanaian people, than to relieve the business and private sector of Ghana, whose businesses have collapsed because of the bad management of the Nana Akufo-Addo government. Mr. Speaker, I'll take you through memory lane. In paragraph 2 of page 12 of the 2019 budget statement, this is what the Minister for Finance said, and I quote, "We are now on course to exit the IMF program. By the end of this year,
It has been a collective effort by all of us. Government for exercising the kind of macroeconomic competence and discipline that was evidently lacking in the past. So it's now evidently present that you are competent, you are incompetent, and you are indisciplined, and you call yourself better managers of the economy. Why are you back to the IMF? If in 2019 you said exiting the IMF was the best thing to happen to this country, then it means that you have demonstrated mismanagement of the Ghanaian economy.
The crisis we are in is self-inflicted, a crisis created by President Akufo-Addo, by the Vice President who is manager of the economic management team, who chairs the economic management team. It's been a total disaster. As he goes around the country campaigning now, he only talks about digitalization. He does not account for his stewardship as chair of the economic management team. Then we have the finance minister, who, Mr. Speaker, the president told us, assured his party and our colleagues who rebelled against the finance minister, that after the IMF program, this minister will be shown the door. He will be asked to go home. The president clearly, as has become his stock in trade, cannot be trusted to keep his word and has kept the finance minister in office.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
If you reach a certain stage in life and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, you are doomed. And that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirtied, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. Inshallah.
Please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Right, hello, good morning and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Thursday, the 3rd day of August, 2023. By His grace, we're alive and we're here with yet another edition of this show. Our gratitude to go to the Most High God for the very privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. GCB Bank at 70. Testament of Banking Leadership. Bank of Ghana. That's according to Bank of Ghana. Okay. I don't know if you can say the same about the central bank. Testament of Banking Leadership. With the central bank, we got Testament of a banking regulator. Okay. IMF bailouts. Government meets second release conditions. Slave trade reparations. AU approves Ghana conference. Gifty Afenyedazi calls for law to sanitize media space. Ghanaian Times. Transatlantic slave trade. Pays reparation for atrocities. President demands. Urges Africa to resist any form of enslavement and oppression. UCC honors Dr. Prempeh, 6 others for contribution to humanity. Loss incurred in 2022 due to DDEP, Bank of Ghana, Giba sues ministry and company for unilaterally charging fees. Daily Guide, 7 grabbed in Cecilia Dapa, $1 million stolen cash. Attorney General orders probe. You can't impose candidate on MPP. Akufo-Addo. Giba sues AG KNet over DTT platform. Nana pushes for prioritization of women and children. The New Crusading Guide. Bank of Ghana sets record straight on 2022 published annual report and financial statement. Doma East MP lots ECG boss for increasing revenue through digitalization. Danger looms at Eduajiri as Achim Ebuakwa State protest against gruesome murder of Odeshi Kwame Sarkodie. Late Osofo Kojo Boachi's wife secures injunction on his funeral. Dompoasi's too must soar higher under your reign, Asantini admonishes new chief. Old Ashoma has no chief who died until family warns public. President congratulates Mediama SC. The insight. Stop aggression against Niger. Socialist movement of Ghana tells ECOWAS leaders. Wesienin, he says rampant corruption breeds schools. Alliance camp warns against attempts to rig NPP presidential primary. Tying MPP rally support for Alexander Abebio as hundreds of supporters back him to submit forms for parliamentary bid. Group of Greater Accra MPP chairman denies support for Afri Akoto, insists it's for Baumia. The Daily Statesman. Let's avoid 2008 mistakes. President charges NPP. NPP extends deadline for submission of proxy applications. DDEP. Government offers alternative for pension funds. $6.6 million sewage treatment plants commissioned. Daily Post. Thousands of prepayment meters imported by ECG and PDS missing at Temahabo. The Bank of Ghana, now a crime scene. Economic managers led by Baumia aided and abetted the economic crisis at Tufosin. Government paid Israeli firm $2 million for spy work in 2021, Bright Simmons. Coming soon, Ghana is losing millions of cedis at the Temahabo due to heavy duties and tax evasion, especially by frozen product importers. Watch out for a Daily Post report on the huge cartel at Rifa Terminal, as well as names of importers, clearing agents, and customs officers involved. Business Finder. GCB Bank to support Ghanaian businesses to explore beyond our shores. Ghana to end use of fossil fuel cars by 2070. Solar Africa measure to unlock sustainable access to power. Business and Financial Times. Bank of Ghana assures of policy solvency despite DDEP-induced difficulties. To address climate crisis, include women and children in decision-making. President. GCB to raise 1 billion cedis from capital market. Launches 70th anniversary celebrations. Social programs are safe. Finance Minister assures us indexation mechanism for LEAP begins Q4. DocuTech wins overall best Lenovo relationship partner for West Africa. And feature frequently asked questions on Bank of Ghana's 2022 published annual report and financial statements. And that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say. But as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
Betway is your gateway to a theme park full of gaming excitement. A whirlpool of wonder where your favorite games come to life. Where you can take to the skies with max payouts that reach into the millions. All in the palm of your hand. Visit betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Bet responsibly. Betway. Bet your way.
Do you need a place with a stunning view and serene environment just beneath the Green Mountains with a commercial center and recreational area with an amazing park? Then look no further.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Welcome to Rehoboth Havens, the most affordable yet luxurious gated community located in Damfa, Accra. We have 2 and 3 bedroom houses with spacious park. Let me show you. All of our rooms come with beautiful porcelain tiles, durable fitted kitchen cabinets,
constant water supply,
electricity and water 24/7.
I'm buying this house. Stop processing my papers. Move it, move it. If you're living in Ghana and want an affordable and luxurious house to buy, look no further than Rehoboth Social Housing Limited. Oh, and to those from the diaspora, aren't you tired of living in places that doesn't belong to you? You can also own your house and be your own landlord from Rehoboth Social Housing Limited. I have my own, Bosu landlord.
Contact us now. Rehoboth Social Housing. Your housing dream becomes reality.
For over 20 years of serving the world with herbal and alternative medicine, we've been successful in treating complicated medical conditions with a perfect combination of herbal and alternative methods of treatment, like homeopathy, naturopathy, reflexology, and many more. We deliver excellent and effective service to people from all walks of life through scientific and traditional means. We have a well-equipped laboratory with advanced diagnostic and treatment devices to help detect your illness, so we know the right medication to be given. At Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, we are proud manufacturers of our own herbal medication. Our zeal and passion to save lives with our patients at heart and outstanding achievements since 1996 has won us several awards. That is why we say, go herbal, go Amen. We are located everywhere in all the regions. Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allahu Shafi, God is the He.
Yamawakwaba, the Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories. Ahadie, a bano KSC near Wakadia. Ubenya Biwaha. Kabian in the house, any new here. Yansu ye were winning before, or best son, we ye amount. Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories, ye jume did ye. 24/7. Ye CCU engine, brake, battery, yes, a sour tie. Say bano car wash dia. Je wo abe fun fidelity say steamer ye the whole car engine abra nsuo car engine nim ye san ye detailing me kire say ye betwetwe car no mu ba bia ma o ye wi a ya san polish car na ma o kama enye we no munku ye san to car batteries, tires, rims, any de keke kan. Manadum Auto Fix and Accessories ema o car ensi ne dedem na enwu adwuma ma o hwehwe ye kira kwan wo dansoma na sorry dan ho a ene KFC bon hwani mu e won kran Sɛ wopɛ information anansɛm bi sɛ bi a, frɛ 024 651 9369. Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories.
To help meet your business and private printing needs successfully, we have just the right products and services. At Appointed Time Printing Limited, we specialize in digital printing, offset printing, packaging and security printing. Our innovative designs and complete professional touch on our print products such as posters, flyers, brochures, magazines, whole cards and any other print solution of your choice ensure that our customers are always happily connected to their audience. With our security printing section, our clients are assured of a highly secured and confidential work process from start to finish. At Appointed Time, our prices are very, very competitive. Locate us at the old GNTC building near Swansea Shopping Arcade, Accra. Contact us on 0501 454165 0501 454167. Appointed Time Printing Limited. Our printing is a solution.
For 7 members of this House
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning is a man who's abandoned us. And I took it that he was not going to come here again. But I don't know. He's been smoked out of the hole. So he's here with us today. Okay. Oman Penny, Richie Dahiagba is the Director of Communications of the NPP. Richard,
yeah.
What brings you here?
When I hear you talking about former friends,
that's what brought you.
Yes, I had to change.
Okay.
so I don't belong to that list of former friends. So it's been a while. I've been here.
Is there a way to the wise in Asin North?
Oh, that's a new one. Yeah. So I will be here in a while. So when I heard you say that, I just thought that it's time to.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm okay.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Thank God. Okay. Also with me on the show this morning is a legal practitioner who's also the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sammy Jemfi. Good morning, Sammy.
Good morning, Doc.
How are you?
We're managing.
You're managing? Oh, okay. You don't look like you're managing. Anyway. So I keep telling you that nothing should stand in your way as far as enjoying the fruits of your labor are concerned, and especially with that beautiful home that you have toiled to build. And we all know that aging and physical infirmities are something that you probably can't run away from, and it becomes quite challenging and sometimes virtually impossible to use the stairway either at home or at the office. But you need not worry any longer, because with the portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVEs, you're sure of unlimited enjoyment of your homes and mansions and offices. A simple to use self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility to choose from. You may call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. So do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home or at the office. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days with modifications to your building. And I advise those who are now building to also speak with Lifts and Elevators Ghana at Sakumono to see how it can be incorporated into your building. But if it's built up already, don't worry. In as little as 3 days, with a little modification, it can be installed for you as well. So visit Lift and Elevators Ghana at Sakumono, or you can reach them on 0200-535-515, 0200-535-515, or email elevatorsgh@gmail.com. And tomorrow is a holiday, but on Saturday there's something exciting. Saturday, the 5th of August. Something extremely exciting happening, and I'll tell you about that later on. But what does wealth mean to you? Do you want to live like a tycoon? Remember, who's got the mullah got the power. Ghana's newest lottery game draws live on Adom TV at 9 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. daily. Now pick up your phones, tablets and computers and download the Game Pack Games app on Play Store. You can also play on their websites at www.gamepackgames.com, www.gamepackgames.com, or by dialing *946# on all networks. Just choose 4 numbers from 0 to 9. It's easy to play and easy to win. Charlie, make we play this game and make some cash. Nobody beats our odds in Ghana. Game Pack Games, more mullah, more power. And this game is regulated by the National Lottery Authority, and it's not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. All right. So, the list that you can place value on, what you need to actually place value on really is acquisition of skills, and you can do that through quality education. So why don't you secure your future with Accra Business School? Boost your career with their prestigious MSc degrees from KNUST. Pick from HRM, that's Human Resource Management, Communication and International Marketing, International Relations, Public Affairs, or IT Management. In just 12 months, The MBA can be yours. Dive into the BSc programs in IT security and cybercrime, IT management and business management endorsed by top universities in Ireland and Wales. Accra Business School also offers flexible entry, payment and learning options convenient to you. It's time to unlock your potential and take position. Visit www.abs.edu.gh or call the Accra Business School, ABS, on 0263 888 555, 0263 888 555 or 0263 888 666. Visit the campus of Accra Business School at the Spintex Road, Christ Square. Let Accra Business School elevate your future today. All right? Okay. So, gentlemen, the finance minister presented the mid-year budget statement to Parliament last Monday. And the debate started on Tuesday and continued yesterday. I want us to watch excerpts of the debate, and then I'll take your views on the state of our economy and the fact that the finance minister believes that we have turned the curve. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement on the floor. And then ask our visitors up here to be wary of the things my previous speaker said. Our previous speaker said, truth is sacred. Truth is sacred. We cannot pick a financial statement and misinterpret the financial statement. We cannot pick a financial statement of a bank and misinterpret the financial statement. Data and truth, separate. Our colleague on the other side just mentioned that they paid BOG supported government with a stock of 80 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, when you look at that report, the 80 billion stock dates way back 2 decades ago, and not now. 2 decades ago. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you that in 2017 to 2019, there was zero financing from the Bank of Ghana to the government of Ghana. It was only in 2020, because of the COVID, we had to go for a 10 billion loan. Yes, Mr. Speaker, beyond 2020, in 2021, there was zero financing. This is data, this is the truth. So I beg you up there to listen to the truth and don't consider what my colleague on the other side said. Mr. Speaker, in 2021, I must say and repeat, there was zero financing. You will all agree with me that in 2022, things were really bad. There were lots of challenges, not just in Ghana, Mr. Speaker. So for my colleagues to sit here and pretend as if it was only in Ghana that things changed, that is not true. Clearly across the globe, times were hard. The Russia-Ukraine war came in. Unless you are telling me it is not true, Mr. Speaker, unless they are telling me it is not true.
Honourable members, order. Order. Right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker. Yesterday, indeed, my worst fears were confirmed. Listening to the Minister of Finance and perusing the documents submitted to us, indeed, I would encourage members that the budget statement presented here doesn't give you the full picture. You ought to go and look at the detailed budget statement, which has the appendices. Because the appendices that speaks to the figures. There's been a claim that we are in this mess, we are in this quagmire, we are in these unprecedented difficult times because of a so-called COVID-Ukraine war. Mr. Speaker, I just want to provide some data. And my cutoff point is 2019, so that we know whether indeed we're on the right path or on the wrong path before COVID. Mr. Speaker, before we left office, in 2016, the depreciation of the cedi was around 7%. In 2019, the cedi depreciated by about 13%.
Hey, double.
This is a fact. It's in the budget.
95%.
Debt to GDP ratio was about 56%. By 2019, it had ballooned to 63%. The deficit had increased, that's the overall deficit, to 7%. Credit to private sector had reduced to about 4%. The construction sector was in the negative. Gross fixed capital formation, and that is the basic issue when it comes to economic development. If you don't increase the capital base of your economy and you spend so much on goods and services, you are going to witness a downturn when you face headwinds. We spent double what this government spent during President Mohammed's time on infrastructure. Eurobond alone, Eurobond, you borrowed about 4 times what President Mohammed borrowed. And so to come and tell us that we are in this quagmire because of a so-called Ukraine-Russia war, the facts does not speak to that. And these are facts. Look, these are not opinions. I'm giving you factual information from the budget, from the Bank of Ghana, and from the IMF documents. And instead of you to learn from your mistake, you're too proud, listen to us and pick up, you are still on this tangent of Russia, Ukraine, COVID, Russia, Ukraine, COVID. If you don't appreciate the problem, you can never find a solution. You are too proud to listen. Look, Mr. Speaker, from where we are going, I will not be surprised if during the main budget we move away or inclusive of COVID and Russia, Ukraine, they add Niger. The conflict in Niger is also contributing to the problems of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, because of these bad policies of your government, the Korean government says that they no longer would advance the $1 billion facility to us. Mr. Speaker, I'm not surprised that a majority leader is running away. What the MPP fear in this world is facts. When they are faced with facts, incontrovertible evidence, they disappear. Habib is also running away. In fact, I'm not surprised at all.
The word lack of courage, the phrase lack of courage, is hereby withdrawn. When you intervene to guide the House. Now, Mr. Speaker, on this occasion,
Mr. Speaker, again, the argument made by Honorable Dr. Kesiel Atuforsen, aka Atuforsen, that the central bank is virtually collapsing the economy, Mr. Speaker, is neither here nor there. Mr. Speaker, worldwide, world economies are struggling. He knows that as an economist. The economists in him will admit this. But the NDC partisanship in him will make him deny this. Mr. Speaker, the Bank of England, Reuters is reporting that Bank of England is going to post $100 billion pound losses. Bank of England, where Atuforsen had his education. Why would he single out the finance minister as though Ghana is an island? Ghana is not an island. Why would you want to deny the fact that the Ukraine-Russia war has affected the world economy? Why would you want to deny the fact that this
Honorable Afenyamakins, please conclude. Honorable leader, honorable members, please. We've taken so much time on this, please. Leader, just conclude for us. You are left with 2 minutes.
inflation we are seeing so far. Mr. Speaker, an estimated 850,000 Ghanaians were reported by the World Bank to have pushed further down the poverty line in 2022 alone due to the inflation we experience. Mr. Speaker, the government admitted in paragraph 2 of the Memorandum on Economic Policy that was sent to the IMF that the illegal printing of money by the Bank of Ghana, which was supervised by the Economic Mismanagement Team led by Mr. Strategist, caused this hyperinflation of 54.1% in the year 2022. Mr. Speaker, after spirited denial by the Bank of Ghana and the government, now thanks to the IMF, the government has come to admit that indeed the Bank of Ghana printed money to finance its over-bloated expenditures in the year 2022. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 8 of the IMF staff report further gives further details that the Bank of Ghana illegally printed over 45 billion Ghana cedis, representing 7.2% of GDP in 2022 alone, and another 35 billion in 2021, first in the history of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the Bank of Ghana is certainly a crime scene. Certainly a crime scene. And it should be noted that the economic managers led by Alhaji Bawumia aided and abated this crime. Mr. Speaker, this singular crime by the Bank of Ghana is responsible for the additional 850,000 Ghanaians who have moved from poor to poorer and into extreme poverty, according to the latest World Bank report. Mr. Speaker, the key members of the Economic Mismanagement Team that superintended and supervised this economic crime are: number one, Dr. Alhaji Mahmudu Bawumia, aka Mr. Strategist. Excuse me. Mr. Speaker, number two, we have the almighty Ken Oforiatta. I call him aka One Program, One Bond. Mr. Speaker, we also have Governor Ernest Addison, aka the printer, who prints money for the government. Mr. Speaker, what a solid economic mismanagement team. What a solid economic mismanagement team that has mismanaged our economy and our livelihood to this level. Mr. Speaker, no thanks to this economic mismanagement team, our public debt increased from 120 billion Ghana cedis to 600 billion Ghana cedis, an increase of about 400% within a period of 6 years. Mr. Speaker, as a result of this high level of debt, Ghana defaulted in the repayment of both our domestic and foreign debt, the first time in the history of our country, making pensioners to picket at the Ministry of Finance to demand the payment of their interest and principal, another first in the history of Ghana. Right Honorable Speaker, rating agencies downgraded Ghana's credit worthiness to D, in other words, super junkie. So Speaker, that is where we are as a country. This made us a baller economy, which required our outgoing Minister of Sanitation to probably clean up. So Speaker, the Honorable Madam Cecilia Dapa must probably clean up this mess before leaving office. So Speaker, the unsustainable debt levels resulted in the painful domestic debt default. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana's financial sector has virtually collapsed. Virtually collapsed. All 23 banks in Ghana recorded massive impairment losses of over 18.3 billion Ghana cedis in 2023 alone. So Speaker, to give you the details, Absa Bank recorded a loss in 2022 of 2.1 billion Ghana cedis. Access Bank recorded a loss of 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. ADB, Ghanaian Local Bank, recorded a loss of 380 million Ghana cedis. So Speaker, Bank of Africa Limited, Bank of Africa, recorded a loss of 190 million Ghana cedis. Car Bank PLC, the Speaker, recorded a loss of 1.45 billion Ghana cedis, all in 2022. The Speaker, CBG, the Consolidated Bank Ghana, recorded a loss, 2022 alone, 1.8 billion Ghana cedis, CBG. The Speaker, aside that, EcoBank, the famous EcoBank, the Speaker, EcoBank recorded a loss of 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. Aside, Mr. Speaker, FBN Bank Ghana Limited recorded a loss of 210 million Ghana cedis. The Speaker, Fidelity Bank recorded a loss of 1.060 billion Ghana cedis. The Speaker, as if that is not enough, First Atlantic Bank recorded a loss of 230 million Ghana cedis. First National Bank recorded a loss of 260 million Ghana cedis. The famous Ghanaian bank, the GCB Bank PLC, recorded a loss of 2.1 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 alone. GCB, 2.1 billion Ghana cedis. Guaranteed Trust Bank recorded a loss of 560 million Ghana cedis. The Speaker, as for NIB, they cannot even publish their financial report. The Speaker, 4 years in a row, NIB.
My own colleagues. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will proceed to offer my comments on the review by the Minister. And as I started off, I think we should thank the Minister for the review, for updating us on our efforts to overcome the economic challenges resulting not just from our economic management recently, but some of the historical weaknesses that have characterized the management of our economy. Mr. Speaker, I premise my comment on paragraph 40 of the Minister's speech, and with your permission, I read. Mr. Speaker, as a nation, we must and will prevail. Indeed, our only recourse is to be successful at the upcoming first review of the program, and that is the IMF program in September 2023, and all other subsequent reviews. We are therefore respectfully calling on every member of this august House and fellow Ghanaians to support these reforms. Mr. Speaker, this is a court duty. And as we offer our comments on the Minister's statement today, we must demonstrate that we are exchanging ideas to help improve the economy, and that we are not here to spell doom for our own economy or to score political points that in the end will be unhelpful to the cause of developing our people. Mr. Speaker, why has it become necessary to respond to this court duty? It has become necessary, Mr. Speaker, because the IMF program and the reference is the 17th in our nation's life. If we add the structural adjustment program and the HIPIC program, this is the 19th time we are seeking development partner bailout. We all know why. Mr. Speaker, we have been running for development partner bailout because we have been doing two wrong things. First, we have been spending money we do not have. But secondly, we have been spending on expenditures that have to be imported. It is this twin problems, Mr. Speaker, that has brought the country to where we are today. So Mr. Speaker, as we respond to this call to help our own country overcome our economic challenges, what should we do? Mr. Speaker, what we should do, perhaps, is more clearly stated in what we should not do. We should stop putting pressure on government to spend on projects for which we have no money. And especially now, we should be asking government to spend on projects for which we have already committed the economy. Let the arrears that have piled, some of them very historical, let us put the resources we have into those areas. Let us stop again putting pressure on government to take on new commitments. And Mr. Speaker, I say this on behalf of the Finance Committee. We will be looking to support government and to ensure that the resources we have go into existing projects instead of taking on additional projects. And we do this fully conscious that it is the point of government itself that this is how it intends to live, to help the economy live within its means. But Mr. Speaker, it will not be enough. It will not be enough to just rationalize expenditure. It is important that as we pay for these expenditures, that we check wastage. Mr. Speaker, this economy and the management of our country are all too familiar with wastage in the public sector. Once we plan within our means, Mr. Speaker, we also have to take steps to ensure that the public financial management strategies that have been outlined in the Act are enforced. And I take this opportunity again to call on members that we ought not to contribute to these irregularities. We should be checking these irregularities. Mr. Speaker, but it will not be sufficient to just handle expenditure. We need to ramp up our efforts to mobilize more domestic revenue. Everyone would have to pay their fair share of the taxes. If we want to lower taxes, we should do so for everybody. The practice of keeping our taxes in place and yet seek to exempt selected individuals from the payment of those taxes is completely unhelpful. We should get everybody, Mr. Speaker, to contribute to our efforts at mobilizing domestic revenue. By exempting individuals in the name of investment promotion, Mr. Speaker, we create two problems. The first is that we deny Ghana the opportunity of communicating that our investment climate is friendly because the taxes are in place. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, by encouraging the practice of selecting individuals and asking them and exempting them from taxation, we are creating the opportunities for corruption. We are creating the opportunities for corruption. So, Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity again to call on not just government, but also on ourselves to ensure that we get everybody to pay taxes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make comments on the media review presented yesterday. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to register my displeasure and disappointment at the majority. The empty seats are just too many.
Yes.
And this is their media budget.
Yes.
I hope the President is watching you and the Finance Minister is watching your response to this debate. Nobody is here. But, Mr. Speaker, I am also very happy that today,
Are you here?
very happy.
When are your members?
Mr. Speaker, I am happy that today the chairman of the Finance Committee has spoken the truth to government. Has spoken the truth to government, and I will be very happy that the video of the presentation he has just made be played in the cabinet of Ghana.
However, hold on. I was saying your time was running. How you use it is yours. But now that he has intervened, I have to stop it for yes.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, in an earlier discussion, we had indicated that some regional caucuses are meeting. and that is the reason why the chief whip, Mr. Speaker, and the chief whip left the chamber to follow up on some matters that are very important to the minority. Mr. Speaker, he left the chamber to follow up on some important matters that they have assigned him to do with some members here. So, Mr. Speaker, he should focus on his comment and limit himself to comment, and let us make progress. I thank you, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, my very respected colleague should understand that we wanted the debate to flow. That is why when the chairman was speaking, nobody interjected. Secondly, there was no such communication that any caucus was anywhere. In fact, if you look at the numbers, then the 16 regional caucuses are probably out of the chamber. So please, just allow the debate to flow. It is evidently clear that you don't even believe in your own budget to come and support it. But even given the case, Mr. Speaker, let us all allow colleagues to make their points without interjection, so that we can cover the 7 people that are supposed to speak from each side today. And we have other businesses beyond the comments that we are supposed to make, Mr. Speaker. So I plead with colleagues, do not interject from both sides when colleagues are speaking. It's not interjection, that's stating the fact. It's okay, it's okay.
Yes, honorable member for Bolga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would have wished that I have an economy to praise. I would have wished that the finance minister had managed this economy so well that I would be clapping for him. But yesterday he came and sang funeral dirges. As a matter of fact, when he finished reading, it was clear he was reading the tribute of a dead economy. And you want me not to say it? Mr. Speaker, the dead economy and the features that he described here yesterday was that this is an economy that at the end, half year, June, was growing at 4.2%. But it will end the year at 1.5%. Why? Is he going to put it in reverse here? That he will move an economy from 4.2% growth in June to 1.5% growth in the end of the year. He has to clap for him. That is a reverse year. Is that the only year he knows? Mr. Speaker, the man says that interest rates have moderated. Meanwhile, just 2 days ago, his governor increased the policy rate to 30%. This is not lending rate. The policy rate has just increased to 30%. Mr. Speaker, inflation, 42.5%. Clearly, these are features of a dead economy. Mr. Speaker, depreciation of the currency was negative 29.9% as of June. Mr. Speaker, he says that by the end of this year, his net international reserve will cover less than 1 month, 0.8 months. I did not say it. He came and read these things. Mr. Speaker, he says reserve money is 68 billion, but the governor of the central bank, through his own audited account, says that he registered negative reserve of 70 billion. You are reading a media budget when your entire reserve has disappeared. And you say, I should praise you. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, what the minister did here was basically reading the tribute of a dead economy he has to bury. I didn't say it. He said it here. Funeral dirges. We couldn't even dance because we're in a bad mood. Mr. Speaker, what has happened at the Bank of Ghana, we need to put it in context.
Right. So those are excerpts of the debate on the economy in Parliament, and I'll be taking the perspective of my panel on this after the break.
It's what we use to kill.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
With over 170 signature homes built and handed over, we know the joy of finally unlocking the door into your new home. At Signum Development, our clients are at the very heart of what we do, and we work with you to make sure what you dream is what we build. Our competitively priced homes are of the same quality and standard that you would find anywhere else in the world. From the quality of workmanship and materials like the doors, the tiles, the windows, to the amenities that we provide, we strive to give our clients the best. We're here to guide you on your home ownership journey. So why don't you join us, Signum Development, at the Mikasa Home and Property Fair on the 5th and 6th of August at the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel. The time is from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day, and entry is absolutely free.
Betway is your gateway to a theme park full of gaming excitement. A whirlpool of wonder where your favorite games come to life. Where you can take to the skies with max payouts that reach into the millions. All in the palm of your hand. Visit betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Bet responsibly. Betway. Bet your way.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302-540-668 or 0501-678-547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
A Plan for Ghana Limited has introduced the all-new Jetto X70 Plus to the market. Jetto X70 Plus is a modern, spacious family SUV with a stylish design, advanced technology and outstanding quality that promises you luxury with affordability. Jetto X70 Plus comes with an exceptional engine warranty of 4 years or 100,000 kilometers, giving you the ultimate peace of mind for years to come. And our dedicated service center at J Plant 2 offers you a wide range of car services and world-class customer support. Be exclusive and outstanding. Get yourself the all-new Jetto X70 Plus. Get in touch with J Plant 2 Ghana Limited on 020-0000-831 or info@jplant2gh.com. Visit jplant2gh.com for more information.
My son, there's more blessing in giving than receiving. When you fear for you and couple the makers in
The pneumatological aberration of the Lord revealed unto me this night that me and my household should go out into the world and bless the world.
Makers Electronics Compliances
Essential immaculatability.
Electronics Company Limited. Type Junction. Edike Pharmacy Dining. Oyer Fateman Boga Junction. Ashaman Valco Flat. Kumasi. Ahinema Kokobin. Asafu Bwachi Hospital Junction. Takwani. Kuma. Number 9 Market.
And tell mom and dad about the Makers Blessing Attack program.
From 0552 222 253 and 0552 222 254. Terms and conditions apply.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have Richard Ayaba and Sammy Jemfi. Times are hard, but the Makers Electronics Company Limited is offering you up to 67% discount on selected electronic appliances from brands such as Samsung, LG, Moved, Nasco, TCL, Media, and Toshiba. Quality but affordable electronic appliances with 2 years manufacturer defect warranty. So visit the showrooms of the Makers Electronics Company Limited at Taifa Burkina Highway, Amasaman Zongo Junction, Oyarifa Teman Boga Junction, Kaswa New Market, Ashaman Valco Flat, Kumasi Ahenema Kokobin, Takradi Efie number 9 Market. Or you can reach them on 055-2222-253 or 055-2222-254. The Makers Electronics Company Limited, large and in charge with quality but affordable home appliances and consumer electronics. Terms and conditions to apply. And I was telling you about what's happening on Saturday. Tomorrow's a holiday, but on Saturday, there's something big happening at the Adjuringano AstroTurf Park. And it is the IMG League Cup. And as a club fan-based tournament. And so whether you're a gun-blazing Ghana or a fan of the old ladies, a fan of Liverpool, Man U, the IMG League Cup is made for you. This is to set the tone for the new Euro League season. So come join us on the 5th of August, that's on Saturday, at Adjuringano AstroTurf Park for the best of goals and bragging rights. Remember, it's on the 5th of August at Adjuringano AstroTurf Park. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Sponsors Game Park Games. Simply dial *946# on all networks. Richard, which curve have you navigated, and where are you taking us to with respect to the economy?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think those are very extensive debates that you've played back. Before I answer your question, let me take the opportunity to say good morning to our communicators across the country, and then members of the New Patriotic Party. Chairman, our party recently, by our national chairman, launched a dues-paying platform for our party, which is something we've not done, at least digitized in our history. We've always paid dues by books, But with this new platform that has been launched, it actually gives us the opportunity to be able to mobilize resources to help push our party forward. And so on your platform, I hope you send me a bill, but to encourage all members of the party to support that initiative, to contribute their membership dues to ensure that the party is resourced enough to be able to organize itself and allows for forward planning to be able to prosecute the 2024 election very spiritedly, because we have one assignment and one assignment only going into the 2024 election, is to ensure that the blanket opposition NDC, who is not offering any alternative ideas, but except to stand in line and point fingers, is not given a chance to want to even dream of ruling this country again. So I implore all members of the New Patriotic Party to take advantage of this platform, to contribute and to donate to the party to ensure that the party is resourced. I have other things to say, but then toward the end, if there's time, I will. Celia, the situation we have in our country today, especially with respect to conversation around the economy, is one of a parallel conversation. The NDC has taken a certain position, which position is not to accept reality and to say that somehow Ghana exists as an island, and therefore the interconnection between us and the rest of the world that we continue to illustrate for them, which we know they know, somehow they pretend they don't know it exists, that we are part of a committee of nations, and therefore what happens here impacts others, and what happens elsewhere impacts us. Much less they have completely repudiated the position that the world today is now a global village, and therefore that interconnection you cannot avoid. So, Senior, what we have is a situation of what you would say, I think there's an Akab proverb or saying that says that Akokosa Chakroma Anyedefe. So, to the extent that the truth is glaring, and the NDC has taken the strategic position not to accept reality, it's become very difficult to have a rational conversation which is focused on assessing a particular situation that we're in. So that is the basis of the question when you saw the finance minister presented a budget with numbers to them, and then you have the minority line up and say that which corner have we turned? Now, you can only ask that question today if you refuse to accept reality, and which is the position of the NDC. And I think that the responsibility we have as MPP is to look past the deliberate obstruction of the NDC, the deliberate intentional denial of the NDC to accept reality, and focus in a way that we can communicate with Ghanaians and understand that we need to do more and to break down these numbers for Ghanaians to understand. And I think that that is where our communication has to get to. And I think that we will have to do more to convince Ghanaians, or to create the awareness about Ghanaians. And I believe if we do that more, we'll be able to get to a point where the NDC's conversation will be looked at as grandstanding, which I'm sure Sami here will do. I watched Felix, I think, on Tuesday, immediately after the budget with my brother, Dr. Kabiru here. And I was looking at Felix, very animated, just going around in circles, talking about things that he knows, he himself, during when they were in power, couldn't do, right? So I want to say that indeed we have turned the corner. And the reason we have turned the corner, Celia, you see clearly in the history of this government from 2017 up till now, our record has been very clear that when we came in, this economy, the economy that we inherited, was in decline, in a free fall. But in the first year in office, we were able to turn things around and started growing that economy. We did so again in 2018. We did so again in 2019. Then something changed. And that which changed was COVID. Now, that's the point of departure, that the NDC says it didn't happen. And when they accept it happened, they want to tell you it didn't impact Ghana alone, or it didn't impact, it wasn't only in Ghana, and therefore it impacted other places. And they try to give you numbers from other places which are out of context, because there's no common base to measure a 2-3 inflation or 2-3% GDP growth in Togo and Ghana, because there's no common platform, or there's no baseline to peg the two. But then they do that. And in 2020, when COVID happened and our economy went into a tailspin, in fact, the global economy went into a tailspin, Ghana was not left out. And I can show you the number, the GDP outcomes for West Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa shows a depression. That performance actually dipped from that period. And I think Ghana recorded about 0.4% GDP in 2020. In 2021, and I have a World Bank document here I'll be reading to validate my point for you. The 2021, the government began a process of fiscal consolidation and growth agenda to ensure that the economy comes back. And the outcome, the fiscal outcome for 2021, we're actually looking up. If you look at GDP in 2021, went up from the 0.4% to 5.36% in 2021. All the indicators were looking appreciably good. Then you went to read your 2022 budget in November 2021, foreseeing or forecasting events in 2022. You make certain policy recommendations or take certain fiscal policy positions going forward. You make recommendation for tax position where your fiscal policy is predicated on increasing revenue to ensure that you are able to accommodate the instances that would emerge in 2022. And you have a difficult parliament that kicked against it, bastardized the measure that you were bringing to forestall exactly where we are today. And that created a problem, an unpredictable market situation. And the market was watching, a situation where your budget was stymied. You have a situation where your parliament was kicking against your budget. The market is very sensitive. And Cindy, I know you know this. The market is very sensitive. Looking at that, they are thinking, looking at what their financials and seeing that my money is in that market. They can't seem to agree on the budget, which suggests whether or not I'm going to be paid by interest next year, 2022. I don't know. And that dragged on till May sometime 2022 before that measure was approved. And you saw the history of the e-levy measure has suffered from this prolonged debate and bastardization of that measure, and it hasn't been able to live up to its expectation till now. Then, as if that is not enough, Senior, you have in February of that year a decision by two countries who are key by their positioning. Now, sometimes when people make it that, oh, war far away, whatever. Russia is not a small country. Russia is a global force to reckon with. So therefore, Russia's economy and the decisions that Russia takes to advance its foreign policy interest is key. The United States of America responds when Russia acts. And so therefore, when Russia takes a certain decision in its foreign policy interest to go to war, it has economic ramifications. And that, the admission of the world, is that that war led to a crisis of supply chain integrity that resulted in cost of living hikes, which resulted also in high energy costs. Now, that then exacerbated the fragile recovery path that we started in 2021. So you saw that in 2022, things begin to fall apart. And this World Bank reports that I'm talking about to you talks about the situation and the impact of that war on the global economy, and particularly take it to examine the impact of that on Sub-Saharan Africa. So that when we are having the conversation here in our country, we need to be careful, and I think that our communicators must make sure this contextual picture all the time. And by the time you lose sight of it, you think that you have a fight in your house, and you forget that other people are also fighting outside your wall. And so therefore, if you want peace, resolve the issue in your house, and therefore when you get out, then other people resolve theirs, and there will be peace. And every country is struggling to resolve the impact of this economic crisis on the world, on the world economy. I'll take a few things here. So on GDP, see that I'll read, I can share a copy with you, right? So on GDP, this World Bank report says what? The economic growth in Sub-Saharan Africa lowered from 3.6% in 2022 from 4.1% in 2021. And 2021, mind you, Ghana's economy grew by 5.36%. So this is consistent with a decline that it is lowered in 2022. So you see a trend of 2021, so we can peg it from 2021, saying that Ghana's economy was high, 5.36. And then in 2022, the projection in the Sub-Saharan Africa was that economic growth lowered to 3.6. And economic activity in the region is projected to further slow down to 3.1 in 2023. Okay? Now, let me just, I'll skip, I won't read all of it. So growth is estimated to pick up to 3.7% and 3.9% in 2024 and 2025, respectively. Okay? Thus signaling the slowdown is bottoming up in 2023. So the idea that we have turned the corner is consistent with this projection by the World Bank, that from the worst will be in 2023, and showing that going forward in 2024, economic performance will pick up from the 3.1 projection in Sub-Saharan Africa to 3.7 and 3.9 in 2024 and 2025 respectively.
So how do you juxtapose the revised growth rates with this projection by the World Bank?
I'll get there. I'll come to that. You understand? So that is a picture. Now, the next thing I want to illustrate for you, is the public debt situation.
And when you finish, kindly let me know when this document was authored.
Certainly. I mean, but you are seeing the dates 2023, so it's a current document. But I'll send you.
I just want to know.
No problem. I'll send you the soft copy. Okay.
There's a question I want to ask. That's what I want to know.
I'll share with you. So let me talk about the public debt.
Right.
It says that the public debt in SSA, which is Sub-Saharan Africa, has more than tripled since 2010. The war in Ukraine, see, I want you to be minded by this. The war in Ukraine halted the fiscal consolidation process of many countries in the region that started in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic. I just told you about the regeneration of our economy post-2020, which was a record of 4.4% GDP to 5.3 or 5.4 outcome in 2021. And now it's telling you here that the war in Russia actually affected the fiscal consolidation effort, so the growth effort of countries after COVID-19, demonstrating for you clearly the impact of that war for you to see. Okay? As countries increasingly, okay, so that's the impact of that, the countries increasingly resorted to measures such as subsidy, temporary waivers of tariffs, levies, and income support for most vulnerable people in an effort to limit the rise of food prices and fuel prices. The fiscal deficit of the region widened. See, I want you to note this. The fiscal deficit of the region, which is Sub-Saharan Africa, which we are part of, widened 5.2 of GDP in 2022, up from the 4.8% GDP. So within that period, our fiscal deficit widened. Okay? I'll just demonstrate the last bit, and then we can move on, and I'll conclude. Now, the next thing I'll talk to you about is inflation. Now, the report suggests that the projection they have here suggests that stubbornly, high inflation fueled rising food and energy prices, as well as weaker currencies and low investment growth, continues to constrain African economies, creating uncertainty for consumers and investors. Okay? Now, the number of countries with two-digit average rate of inflation increased from 9 in 2021 to 21 in 2022, telling you the change, the sudden change, okay, in inflation in sub-Saharan Africa, okay, from low or manageable inflation to out of control inflation. In 2021 to 2022, and 2022 we started experiencing this very unstable situation, because if you look, 2021 our inflation Ghana I think was about 9%.
When?
In 2021.
No.
9.8% or so.
Inflation in Ghana?
Yeah. In 2021, you can check.
9.8%?
Yes, you can check it.
Okay.
So this shows you
the
drastic shift from there, and the record shows you that this actually did happen in Sub-Saharan Africa. So it's not only Ghana.
No, but Richard, just hold on.
Okay.
Are you going to give us examples in other sub-Saharan countries in terms of their 2021 and 2022 inflation figures to justify this?
Well, we can find it, but don't worry. But I'm just reading a report that says...
No, I get the report, but you're using this report to justify the Ghanaian situation.
Well, do you disagree with the report?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying that...
Let me finish and I'll get you those numbers.
Let me just ask the question. Okay. I'm just saying that you're using this report to illustrate and justify Ghana's situation. So, for example, if you pick inflation, you say that this report about sub-Saharan Africa is a justification for, or is a confirmation of the 9.8% that you said in 2021 to the 50-something, now 42% here. So I'm asking whether there are other examples in Africa, like the Ghanaian one.
Well, yeah, of course. That's what the report is saying.
No,
so if you want me to give you a specific one, when I finish, I'll say.
So
but you were here the last time when Phyllis was telling you about Cote d'Ivoire's inflation that is also gone up, except that he's saying that because it's about some 7%, and therefore it's not egregious. That's what he's saying. But the report here is confirming exactly what Phyllis stood here last time and said. So just let me finish, and I can answer that question. Okay? So, but then the incontrovertible fact is that, the inflation started getting out of control in 2021, okay? And Ghana's performance then was, our inflation then was 9.98. So you can average it, if you can approximate it if you want, to 10% in 2021. But then in 2022, you saw the spike. It got out of control. And that is what the report is saying, okay? And then, so let me just do the final thing for you, and this is on investment, also to demonstrate the positions with inflation and the performance of the currency for you. Now, the final thing here I want to show to you, which is a general situation in Sub-Saharan Africa, is the report says investment growth in Sub-Saharan Africa fell from 6.8% in 2010 and 2013 to 1.6% in 2021. With a sharper slowdown in Eastern and Southern Africa than in Western and Central Africa. So the purpose of this report that I wanted to bring to your attention is that Ghana exists in a context. The world has a certain situation we're dealing with. And across the board, every economy is struggling. I have a report here about some OECD countries talking about how is it that their central banks are struggling to control and manage inflation. I'll share that document maybe if my presentation goes there and the next time I get opportunity. But the point I want to illustrate for you is that there's a global situation that Ghana is not exempted from. And so if we want to have our conversation, we need to have the conversation in that context. So when the finance minister said we have turned the corner, The numbers you are looking at, that the micro-fiscal numbers that he's talking about, align with the position predicted for the Sub-Saharan African region, which shows that there's probably going to be a worse situation, and then there's a curve there, and people then will be, the economy then will begin to
let me
see
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. The same finance minister presented the budget for 2023. He was fully aware of all these projections that you spoke about. He's come mid-year to inform us that the growth rates that we gave are targeted. We are revising it down threefold. Almost all the key indicators that he gave in the 2023 budget is revising all those ones downwards.
Right.
Yet he says that we are turning the curve. The projections he made for the year, irrespective of all these issues raised by the World Bank and everybody, he was fully aware of them. Yet the government said that we're going to grow at this rate, we're going to have a deficit of this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, all in 2023.
Right.
He comes back mid-year to revise most of them downwards. Yet he says that we've turned the curve. How do you reconcile that?
You know, see, I think the finance minister answered that question, except I can't remember what paragraph. But the reason, the explanation he gave, and I think that you can relate to that, is that, our oil production volumes have gone down, and general pricing on the world market for crude is gone down. From the estimation they worked the budget with in 2023, I think it was $90-something per barrel. Now it's hovering somewhere around $73 or so. So that obviously has a direct impact on your receipts. And so if you revise your projection consistent with that, it is reasonable to do so, because, I mean, how else are you going to get growth? Because if the prices continue to go down and you have that estimation, all it's going to mean is that you saw that the thing was going down, you couldn't predict the outcome. So what all these projections here is a projection based on certain factors. And if those factors are changing, I think that it's prudent for you to align. It doesn't mean that you are not managing the economy well. It just means that things are happening that affect you, so you need to respond to the environment.
So how do you then say that you have turned the curve in that circumstance? Because you give an end December inflation rate, a projection.
Yes.
You obviously, from your media review, you are not meeting it. You give your gross international reserves, it's gone through the roof. You give your overall GDP growth, gone through the roof.
Total overall GDP growth, so it's just been revised. That has not gone through the roof.
No, I'm saying that the revision, it means that what I mean is that you're not meeting
I think that's a fallacy.
Why?
The revision is, I just told you why it's reasonable to do that.
No, I am not saying that it is not reasonable to do.
Yes,
what I'm telling you is that is what you projected to do.
But that is not reality.
You still don't get my question. I'm saying that all these projections you made, which are the key things, your end December inflation rate, your gross international reserves, your overall real GDP growth, your total expenditure on commitment basis, your non-oil real GDP growth, your primary balance on commitment basis, your overall budget deficit commitment basis, your overall budget deficit cash basis, total revenue.
So those are just one and the same things anyway.
Yes, I'm saying that all of these ones, you have come back to revise all of them backwards.
Yes.
Downwards.
Yeah.
Yes. Irrespective of the reasons that you gave.
Right.
Yet you say that you've turned the curve. That's what I want to understand.
Yeah, but see, okay, so the finance minister spoke in present terms. Okay? In present terms, suggesting that we have turned the curve, which is a fact.
When we can't meet all our projections.
Hold on. No, but that's a future conversation you are having.
No, it's not future.
No, hold on.
It's this year, this fiscal year.
I agree. Just hold on, Syria. When the finance minister in the budget says we have turned the curve. He's not talking about we're going to turn the curve at the end of the year. We have turned it now.
How?
Yes. So that's why you need to allow me. But when you are talking about a future situation, then if you want to have that conversation, your question should be, how do you sustain what curve you said you have turned?
No.
Because that is a projection into the future.
No.
Hold on.
My
grammar
is not that terrible.
I know.
Yes, my grammar is not that terrible.
But of course,
I'm just saying that
you may be influenced by certain conversations.
No, I'm just saying that there are indices.
Yes.
That we have projected to meet. We were fully aware of the global climate.
Yes.
And our domestic situation. We were fully aware.
Okay.
And we made some projections, believing that once we meet those projections, our economy will rebound. We're on the path of a rebound. We'll get somewhere.
Okay.
The finance minister comes to Parliament and he revises almost all of these ones downwards. Yet he says that we've turned the curve. That's what I want to understand.
And I just told you, Syria, that on the basis of what you just said, he is saying we have turned the curve now. He's not talking about we turn the curve tomorrow. So just hold on your thought about the revision. Okay, there are two separate things. Where we are now, he has given you the indicators for them. Okay? And then telling you that going forward, given the conditions on the market or in the market, the global market, primarily our receipts from oil revenue is going to go down. And I think that even media, I think it fell by some 7.9%, about 8% receipt from oil revenue. So the projected growth contribution from oil was minimal. So he's telling you that having told you or having come this far, okay, having turned the corner, going forward, I see crude oil going down. The cost of it, the price per barrel is going down. That is a major revenue earner for us. And because that is going down, we are revising our estimated position, which was supposed to be 2.8% total outturn at the end of this fiscal year, to 1.5. I mean, I don't see the confusion there. Because you are looking at what will affect you. You have an appointment with someone, and then you leave your house.
I have no disagreement with the analysis you are making.
So then
the question I keep asking you is that, and when you speak about future, we are in August.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There is a budget for this year, 2023.
Which is being executed.
We expect that we'll end the year at A, B, C, D, E, F. And that the finance minister told us will be the path towards the rebound.
The rebound?
Yes.
The rebound, he's told you where we are. So where we are today...
No, I'm saying that when he presented the budget, his point was that we will reach this. And once we're able to reach this, that will be the path of recovery, the beginning of the path of the recovery. Now in the media review, he comes to say that for all the reasons that you have enumerated, we will not be able to meet all those targets that we set for ourselves, which we believe would constitute the recovery.
Okay.
And therefore, we are revising them downwards.
Yeah.
Yet he says that we have turned the curve. That's what I want to understand.
So the revision, part of which is due to the cost of crude on the market. Do you blame Ken?
That's not in doubt.
Yeah, so do you blame him for it, for revising growth, because obviously something he doesn't control is likely to continue going down from when he estimated in 2023 for you that it'll probably be about $93 per barrel. And now it's about 73.
Okay, you are not addressing the issue.
But you see, unless there's something else.
No, I just want to understand how projections that I made, which I believe if I achieve will lead to a rebound, have all
been revised
downwards.
Very well.
Yet I say I have turned the curve. That's just the understanding I want.
If you want, you must have a conversation about the full year. If that's what your question suggests, that you're asking a question about the full year. But in terms of turning the corner, it's telling you this half year, our performance in terms of GDP shows you that...
To what end? To what end?
At present.
No, to what end?
Hold on. At present.
Q1, Q2 is supposed to reflect Q3, Q4.
No problem.
To give you an end result.
Yes.
You have told us that you are revising the end result.
Yes.
So if Q1, Q2 will not help you to achieve that end result and you are revising it downwards, what is the issue about Q1, Q2 meaning that you've turned the curve?
I think you impose a very good scenario. Let me analyze it for you this way. You are leaving your house to come here.
Yes.
See that? From your house to here is about how many minutes? Ideally, if the road is free.
20.
20. Okay, so you tell us we should be here 7:20 and we start the program at 7:50 or 7:40. And we are here. And you know calculation per how your travel time is. You leave your house at 7:20, knowing you'll get here 7:40. Then one day you are coming and there's traffic. Right? What do? You call us and tell us, well, my estimated time has changed because there's traffic I've encountered, which is not a normal occurrence per my calculation to you that I'll be here at 7:40. So something has changed. For the finance minister, the reason he's revising this is because his projection at the outset of the 2023 budget was that crude oil will be at a certain price. And then come to mid-year, the review suggests that the price had gone down, and therefore his receipt from oil revenue fell by 7.9%.
Okay.
So in accordance with that change in price, which directly affects his productivity, he tells you that going forward, if this thing stays this way, my performance as I estimated to be here at 7:40 will not be the same. So I'll be here at 7:50. That's not your doing. It's an exogenous factor.
Yet he says that I've been punctual.
He didn't say that.
Okay.
He didn't say that.
Okay.
He didn't say that. What he told you is that the fact that he wanted to be here at 7:40 is not a deceit. But on his way, there is a traffic situation that precluded him from coming. So it's an external factor that you should be able to accommodate.
All right.
And we have been accommodating that when they come late, Senior.
All right. Okay. So let me bring in Sami.
I think you get the picture. And therefore, when Sami comes in, I know he's going to be doing all the things they do. Oppose, refuse to accept reality. And therefore, that's the context I think Ghanaians should look at the two presentations.
Okay.
We admit reality and we are communicating within the context of the global situation. But the NDC lives in some wonderland where they think that Ghana exists in isolation.
Right.
And that's what he's going to do. Complain about everything else, but accept no responsibility and suggest no ideas. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Doc, thank you. First of all, a very good morning to our cherished viewers. Doc, what are we discussing? We are discussing the 2023 mid-year budget review statement of the government.
Yes.
Presented to Parliament on behalf of the President by the Finance Minister. And if you read that statement, you get one central theme. The central theme of the mid-year budget review statement presented to Parliament, according to government, is that they have turned the corner and that we are out of the crisis. That is the operative, or if you like, the central theme of the presentation of the Finance Minister. Now that statement, turned the corner, is not the invention of the MPP. It is English language. It is an idiomatic expression. It has a meaning. So instead of my brother Richard going around in circles and making a mockery of himself over this very simple, very basic statement, all we need to do, Doc, is to interrogate the meaning of that phrase and to check the facts about the state of our economy today vis-a-vis where we were last year, to come to the conclusion as to whether or not government has actually turned the corner, whether or not we are out of the crisis. This is a very simple exercise. Doc, what is the meaning of turn the corner? Anybody watching me can Google it. It means to pass the critical point of a crisis and to begin to improve.
Yes.
It means to recover.
Yes.
To rebound.
Yes.
Right? I wrote some of the synonyms down. To recuperate. To overcome. That is the meaning of that. So, what is the state of the Ghanaian economy today? Per the facts. Do the facts show that we have recovered? We have rebounded? We are seeing a rebound? We are recuperating? We have overcome our challenges? That is the simple question we should be asking. So, let's go to this issue of GDP growth. You've been bantering Richard over. It's a very important economic indicator. In fact, the GDP growth of every economy is the most important indicator of the health of that economy. If an economy is growing, then generally the understanding is that the economy is doing well, because as the economy grows, more employment is created and more monies are put in the pockets of people. That is the general principle. So last year, 2022, Ghana's economy grew by 3.1%. That figure is contained in the minister's own media budget review statement when he gives a report of our macroeconomic performance for the previous fiscal year. He said GDP growth for last year was 3.1%. 2023, what is government projecting to be our GDP growth? Initially, in the 2023 budget presented in November last year, we projected a growth rate of 2.8%. Doc, that 2.8% falls short of the growth rate we achieved last year of 3.1%. But to make matters worse, that projected growth rate of 2.8% has been reviewed downwards to 1.5%. So you did 3.1% GDP growth last year, and you're projecting to do a GDP growth rate of 1.5%. How is that a rebound? How does that amount to turning the corner? Or you don't understand that simple English language? How does that amount to recovering or overcoming the challenge of our stunted economic growth? How does that amount to that? It means that per your own figures, your own facts, the economy will worsen relative to GDP growth. And we are not going to see any rebound in the stunted economic growth we have witnessed in the last few years. These are your own figures, Richard. So why are you confusing yourself? And then they say that, oh, the reason why the finance minister is reviewing the GDP growth rate figures down is because what we projected to get from oil, we are not likely to meet it. Yeah, so the bottom line is that GDP growth is going to be worse than it was last year. So you can't say you are turning the corner or you've turned the corner. In fact, as we speak today, GDP growth is worse for K1 and Q2, worse than what it was for K1 and Q2 of the same of 2022.
No, that's not true. It's not true.
What is the GDP growth rate for K1 and Q2?
K1
and Q2 first quarter for the first half.
I mean, it's not true. Just carry on. It's not
Master,
true. It's not true.
For 2022,
you just read the statement.
Overall growth rate was what, 3.1%. It is in the media.
You said Q1, Q2.
Yes. By mid-year last year, the economy was growing by more than 3%. In fact, the decline, the reason why we got to 3.1% at the end of the year was because of what happened at the last part of the year. Today, what K1 and Q2? We are doing less than 2%, 1 point something. Go and check. And that is why the overall growth rate has been reviewed downwards from 2.8, a projection of 2.8 to 1.5. Even if you take non-oil GDP growth, Doc, they projected 3%.
Yes.
Last year, they did more than 3%. They did around 3 point something percent. Non-oil GDP growth. and projected 3% for this year. But they are saying that no, they can't achieve that. They are projecting to achieve 1.5%. How is that an improvement on what we achieved last year? Then they say, oh, it is because of some global factors and all that. So the question is, let's do the very thing Richard is advising us to do this morning. He says we should discuss these economic indicators. We should discuss the state of Ghana's economy within the context of, global trends or regional trends. What is the average GDP growth rate for sub-Saharan Africa for this year, 2023? Doc, it is 3.6%. For the whole of 2023, sub-Saharan Africa, average GDP growth rate is 3.6%. So why are we projecting to do less than half of that average sub-Saharan GDP growth of 1.5? Look, as I speak to you, this same 2023 that we are projecting to grow by 1.5%. Ivory Coast is looking at doing a growth rate of 6.2%. It is in the mid-year budget review statement. Nigeria is projecting to do 3.2%. Mauritius is projecting to do 4.6%. Ethiopia is projecting to do GDP growth rate of 5.3%. Rwanda is projecting to do GDP growth rate of 6.2%. And so on. So, how is our GDP growth rate position, the same as what pertains in the sub-region where the average is 3.6, or in Africa where many peers of ours are doing growth rates far higher than even 3%. We are not even doing 2%, we are doing 1.5% as a projection, which we can miss, like we missed our projected growth rates last year. And don't forget that in 2016, under President Mahama, we had only one oil field. And for the greater part of that year, through an act of God, what the lawyers call force majeure, the FPSO in Nkrumah got damaged. The turret bearing got damaged. So for the greater part of that year, we did not produce oil. And because of that, we recorded a negative growth rate for the oil and gas sector for 2016. And that affected the overall growth rate we achieved in 2016. Even though non-oil growth rate was around 6% or around 5%, okay, we ended up dropping in terms of the overall GDP growth to 3.7% because of the negative growth in the oil and gas sector. Why? Because of an act of God, a 40, FPSO. The NPP castigated us, berated President Mahama, called us names. That was the time we had only one oil field that couldn't even produce oil because of an act of God. They said 3.7 growth rate was abysmal. It was a mark of an incompetent government. Today you don't have one oil field. You have 3 oil fields. 3. And you don't have any act of God, any force majeure. You are producing more oil than has ever been produced in the history of Ghana. The international market price of oil, which has even come down in recent time, is far higher than it was in 2016. 3 oil fields. You are projecting to do GDP growth rate of 1.5%, and you are saying that is good. You have turned the corner. You need free education on simple English language. It's either you don't understand what you are saying, or you just don't respect the people. You want to insult our sensibilities. Then Doc. So what does this mean? What this means is that this year, 2023, we are not going to see any improvement in GDP growth rates. And that means that jobs, employment will suffer, incomes will suffer, Ghanaians will suffer more. And so this is not the time for our finance minister and government to be telling us about turning corners when that is not the case. And then, Doc, what is our bane today? Our bane today in terms of the economic bankruptcy we are experiencing is our unsustainable debt. So what is our debt position today? Is it any better? Okay, we know that our public debt has galloped from 120 billion as of December 2016 when John Mahama and the NDC were leaving office to close to 600 billion Ghana cedis as we speak, representing an increase of over 400% in the public debt. And so because of that, today Ghana has become insolvent. We have become bankrupt. We cannot service our debt. And for the first time in more than 3 decades, we have defaulted on our debt obligations. For the first time, we are implementing a draconian debt restructuring program. We are not paying our bilateral creditors, our external creditors, and even Ghanaian bondholders who have lent to us, including poor pensioners. We are not paying them. And some of them are contracting all manner of diseases because of the pain and agony they have been subjected to. Some of them cannot even afford basic medication for themselves because of the mismanagement, the excessive borrowing, the reckless expenditures of the Bawumia-led economic management team. And then you come and tell us that we are out of the woods, we have turned the corner, we have recovered. Meanwhile, as we speak, the draconian debt exchange program continues unabated. Are more, creditors not being added to that debt restructuring program? Cocoa bills have just been added. Government is even seeking to add pension funds. So how have we seen any improvement in our debt position? You know something? Anybody listening to me should check Appendix 2A of the mid-year budget review statement of this government. This 2023 mid-year budget review we are discussing. Government in 2023 projected not to borrow on the domestic market. They said they were going to borrow zero on the domestic market. Doc, rightly so, because when you find yourself in an unsustainable debt position, you can't service your debt. You are locked out of the international capital market. Nobody wants to lend to you. And you decide to go through debt restructuring. What you're doing is that you are depriving your creditors of their investments. Okay? And so the savings you make out of that debt restructuring program are supposed to be invested into the payments of the debts. No sensible government compounds its debts in the middle of a debt restructuring program. If you do that, you will end up imposing another debt restructuring program, like it happened to Jamaica. So what we're supposed to do is that the gains we are now making from the debt restructuring program, which actually are the hard-earned investors of bondholders, would have been invested prudently, in a prudent manner. But what are we seeing? Instead of living up to their own projection of borrowing zero on the domestic market, you know that for the first half of this year alone, this government has borrowed a whopping 5.5 billion Ghana cedis without parliamentary approval. Because they told Parliament in the 2023 budget that they were going to borrow nothing on the domestic market. On the T-bill market alone, 5.5 billion cedis. And they are projecting to borrow in this mid-year budget review another 41.3 billion cedis. In total, 46.8 billion domestic borrowing this year. You know what that will do? Apart from the fact that that will increase the already high public debt, what that will do is that it's going to crowd out the private sector. It's going to restrict access to credit, which is already low in the economy. And it is going to increase the already high lending rates in the country. Already you know that T-bill rates have increased from 14% to 27%. You understand? As I speak to you, lending rate is 36%. Ghana Commercial Bank, go and check. And you are going to do this excessive domestic borrowing. And you say you have turned the corner. How have we turned the corner relative to our own sustainable public debt? Have we returned to the international capital market? Have we now become debt sustainable? What are you talking about? Have we stopped the debt restructuring? Are you paying bondholders? Are you paying your external creditors? Have we seen any improvement at all in the figures? The answer is no, no, no. Then look at even expenditure. One of the major causes of the crisis we have on our hands. There is discretionary expenditure and there is non-discretionary. Non-discretionary means government is bound. We can't do anything about it. But even a larger component of that non-discretionary expenditure, which is debt servicing, Now, because of our default, we are not paying. You understand? And that has helped to bring down that non-discretionary expenditure, allocation or projection. However, the discretionary that government can do something about, key among which is goods and services, consumption, chop, monies that government officials, government agencies and departments spend in their offices for the running of government services, that government can do something about, and in fact told us that they will do something about. They are going to cut that, so that we do what they call burden sharing. You know what we are having now? Burden shifting. Because whilst they are depriving bondholders of their investments, they are killing some in the process. You know that they have exceeded their goods and service budget for the first year of 2023. They projected to do goods and services expenditure 4.1 billion. Check Appendix 2A. What have they done as at mid-year? 4.7 billion. An increase of 600 billion cedis. A million cedis. Million. And 600 million is 6 trillion old Ghana cedis.
Exaggeration.
What is exaggeration?
Carry on.
What is exaggeration? Are you a bondholder?
Carry on.
What a bondholder?
Carry on.
You will not be talking like this. You deprive pensioners of their monies. And instead of you to spend those monies on the payment of your debts, you are spending it on goods and services consumption. The same recklessness that has collapsed the economy. And you are here saying we have turned the corner. Exaggeration. You people have no respect at all for the people of this country. Then you come to inflation. Yes, by end of 2022, the rate of inflation was 54.1%. As of June, 42.5%. Clearly, you can see a relative stability. Okay. However, the most important thing when you are analyzing inflation is the trajectory of that inflation. Whether it is on an upward trend or it is on a downward trend. You understand? So if, for example, inflation has come down and inflation currently is on a downward trend, then at least on the issue of inflation, the finance minister would be right to say that we have turned the corner because we have seen the rates of inflation improve. But Doc, what are the facts? Inflation has been on an upward trend for the last 3 months. In April, it was 41.1%. In May, 42.2%. In June, 42.5%. And the Ghana Statistical Service, in fact, the World Bank is projecting that it's going to go up again. You understand? And why won't inflation go up when government is over borrowing excessively in the domestic market? Because when lending rates go up, inflation will go up. So we are likely to return to hyper levels of inflation again. And why are we seeing this high inflation? Master, in any country where you have over 40% of inflation, that country is sunk. What it means is that the purchasing power of the ordinary people of that country is being eaten away at a very alarming rate. What 100 Ghana cedis could do 2 years ago, it cannot do even a quarter of that today because of the rate of inflation. And that is why the World Bank has told us that because of their mismanagement, which led to hyperinflation last year, over 850,000 Ghanaians were pushed into poverty. How have we turned the corner relative to inflation? I was talking about lending rate a few minutes ago. The monetary policy rate, which is the rate at which the central bank lends to commercial bank, today is 30%. Do you know what it was last year? It was around 22%. Last year, the monetary policy rate was around 20. It came down after the debt restructure. It came down all the way to around 22%. Now it has come up, went to 25, 27. Now it is 30%. So the banks are lending 35, 36%. Which business can survive under this hostile business climate? Which business can survive? Already, Guta, all businesses are complaining about high tax payments. They can't cope. We are paying baller tax. We are paying COVID levy. We are paying all these things. Government is not ready to scrap these nuisance taxes. All the many import levies that Abuso Kai's papers dealers were expecting that government was going to scrap in this media budget review. We are still going to pay because the government didn't do anything about it. Very insensitive. And to add insult to injury, they look us in the face and say, oh, we are recovering. We have turned the corner. The only corner they have turned is their bedrooms, which has become banks for stashing stolen public funds. That is the only corner they have, they have turned.
Stay with the budget.
Then, Doc, look at the state of our central bank today.
Are we discussing central bank?
But is that not part of the economy?
No, we were discussing the review. The budget.
But is that not part of the media budget review? Or you've not read it? You must have stopped making a mockery of yourself, my brother. How can you say we should discuss a budget statement without talking about the health of the regulator of the banking sector, the Bank of Ghana? Today, the Bank of Ghana is bankrupt.
The Bank of Ghana,
please.
We are talking
the Bank of Ghana
issue, which
today is bankrupt. The Bank of Ghana today has become insolvent. The Bank of Ghana today has declared losses to the tune of 60.8 billion, unprecedented in the history of the central bank. The Bank of Ghana today has declared negative equity of 55 to 70 billion. Why? Because the Bank of Ghana chose to pander to the whims and caprices of this reckless Akufo-Addo Bawumia government by continuously printing money illegally for this government. When we know what the Bank of Ghana Act says, Section 30, as amended by Section 16 of the new Bank of Ghana Amendment Act says, you can't, yes, you are the banker of government. When government goes into crisis, Bank of Ghana can advance overdrafts, short-term loans to the government. You can print money for government. But the law says, don't do more than 5%. Don't give the government more than 5% of the total revenue of the previous year. In 2020, the total revenue was 55 billion cedis. 5% of that was 2.8 billion. Yet, in 2021, Bank of Ghana printed 35 billion cedis for government, according to what remains on the books of Bank of Ghana. In 2021, total revenue, 76 billion. The 5% of that was 3.8 billion. Meaning that if Bank of Ghana wanted to give government an overdraft, it shouldn't have exceeded 3.8 billion. They printed more than 10 times that amount, 45 billion. And the law says that anytime the Bank of Ghana is exceeding 5%, the Bank of Ghana, you don't have the governor, you don't have the power to do that. You must go to Parliament and tell the people's representatives that government is exceeding the 5% of the total revenue of the previous fiscal year they are entitled to. And so tell us what to do. Yet these criminally minded people who have no respect for the law decided to continue to print money. Today they printed over 80 billion and government says we can't pay. Then the same people have gone to sit down and say, okay, the money you printed for us, Doc, listen to it too. 80 billion is like 8 quadrillion old Ghana cedis. The money you printed for us, now it has become bad debt, we can't pay. So write off 50% of it as bad debt. And the Bank of Ghana, without parliamentary approval, writes off 50% of it as bad debt. In which country can this happen? And then instead of them to be resigning, instead of them to be explaining to us why they have violated the law, they have the effrontery to issue press releases and say, oh, we are not alone. Other countries too have been in the same position. Really? All the countries they cited are industrialized countries. And none of the countries they have cited have actually breached their Bank of Ghana Act. What those countries have done are allowed by their laws. You understand? And that printing of money is what has led to the hyperinflation we are talking about here.
No.
You don't understand basic economics.
I mean,
basic economics, you understand that when you have more money chasing fewer goods, it leads to it spikes inflation. You don't know.
No.
But the Bank of Ghana itself and the World Bank, when you read the IMF document, it says that the main reason for the hyperinflation is the continuous printing of what is called signalage, printing of money, which the Bank of Ghana continue to dump in the economy.
No, signalage is not the same thing you are talking about.
What is signalage?
Is different.
What is signalage?
Is like an American dollar. The benefits the currency America gets from the global utilization of the currency.
Masa, don't make a mockery
But
of
you
yourself.
carry on.
There's a very serious platform.
Carry on.
Don't expose yourself on
anyway,
this.
are you done?
Signorage refers to the printing of money.
No.
Go and check that.
No, please.
You understand?
People
so this is what you have done. Then,
please.
Doc. Yes, it is true that we are suffering from economic bankruptcy. And the government has not turned the corner. You know, things are getting worse. The freeze on employment has not been removed. Contractors are not being paid.
So
local contractors are owed about 15 billion. Government projected to pay them by mid-year 5.5 billion. Government has only paid them 1.5 billion. So already there is a lot of hardships. No corner has been turned, except the bedrooms of these appointees like Cecilia Dapa and Nuhu Hamida, who have become so rich because of the wealth they have amassed in a short space of time in government. You know, but the issue here...
That's an allegation without basis.
Oh.
Yes.
Why?
Well, against the two persons, it's without basis.
Why?
Kindly withdraw that. It's without basis.
Doc.
Kindly withdraw that.
Which part?
The fact that they have amassed wealth in government. Kindly withdraw that. There is no evidence to support that.
Okay. Let me at least give you my basis. Let me give you my basis.
No, don't give me that.
No. Oh, Doc. But it's only fair to... Oh, no, it's only fair to listen to my basis. Why? You have Cecilia Abnadapa, who has reported to the police that house helps in a house have made away with $1 million, 300,000 euros, 350,000 Ghana cedis, jewelry worth $95,000.
We know all that.
And so on.
We know all that. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And the documents before the course of this country clearly suggest that is, according to the report he made to the police, his property, her property.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And this is a public officer.
It's still not...
Have you checked the assets she has declared?
I haven't.
Have you checked?
I'm saying that what you have said is still not evidence that the person has acquired...
but what does it show?
No.
Why they show resign?
Sammy,
if you want me to withdraw, I will withdraw. But Doc, the fact still remains that Cecilia Abnadapa, until recently, was the Minister for Sanitation.
True.
A public officer.
True.
Therefore subject to accountability and scrutiny. And this public officer has reported to the police that these huge sums of monies, which she could not have earned legitimately from her salary as Minister of State, has been stolen from her. Because if you put together all her allowances and salaries, you can't get that figure. You can't get that figure. And she is not allowed per the laws of this country to engage in any private work of profits without the permission of the Speaker of Parliament. And she has no such thing. She has not. No, we are talking about ministers of states. That is the provision, the constitutional requirement. So, if you don't want me to say that, the facts are clear for every discerning mind to discern what that is. So, and you also have another presidential
I'm just reminding you that you're a lawyer.
No, but precisely the reason why I'm a lawyer is why I'm saying that. That's what it is.
No, it's why you shouldn't say that.
Why? It's basically why we should say that. Why we should say that. And then you have this presidential staffer who is also complaining of another, that some people associated with her, Hamida Nuhu, senior presidential staffer, have stolen $100,000 of money belonging to her and so on and so forth. These are serious matters that should concern every well-meaning Ghanaian. But the point is, where I'm driving at, you see, is that, Doc, the excuses our brothers in the MPP continue to make for the economic catastrophe we have on our hands and the hardships we are going through are totally unacceptable. They are disgusting, and they must stop and desist from that. Look, nobody is saying that COVID, Russia-Ukraine war has not affected Ghana. Nobody is saying that, and nobody can say that. COVID is an exogenous factor, a global factor, which has affected all the nations of the world. But it has affected different countries differently. It has brought some countries on their knees. In other words, it has given some countries fever, but it has put some countries in coma. For other countries, it has even killed them completely. Now, the difference in the impact of these external factors on different countries is based on three things. Number one, whether those countries had strong economies before COVID struck them. You understand? Whether they had the buffers to withstand headwinds before COVID struck them. Number two, how COVID was managed. And number three, how the economy was managed in the midst of COVID. So you realize that if you pick something like inflation, yes, COVID has affected all the countries in Africa. But how come that Ghana has the worst inflation figure, third worst inflation figure? In fact, the worst in the whole of West Africa and the third worst in the whole of Africa, out of 54 countries. Why is it that inflation in some African countries is hovering around 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, 3%, despite suffering from COVID? But we are recording inflation of 42.5%. How come that none of these African countries have defaulted on their debt obligations? How come none of these African countries, like Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, which Bawumia and Akufo-Addo have been comparing Ghana to, have not defaulted on their debt obligations? They have not lost access to the capital market. They have not been downgraded to super junk status of D. How come? How come they are not imposing debt restructuring? It's because, number one, their economies were stronger than Ghana before COVID struck. And that is supported by the facts. Before COVID struck, our debt to GDP had increased from 56% under President Mahama in 2016 to 63% in 2019. There was no COVID. If you added hidden debts of Esla, Dachi, and the rest, the debt to GDP had hit 70% before COVID struck. Again, before COVID struck, the deficits, which we recorded 6.1% in 2016, that they said were reckless in spending on the 2016 election. That is why deficit was 6.1% of GDP. And passed a law that they will never exceed 5%. They were going to be responsible and live within their means and spend what they have. Before COVID, the deficit for 2019 was 7.5%, meaning that we're already being reckless and living out of our means. Again, the city, which according to the so-called strategists, the failed chairman of the economic management team who has caused this economic mess, Bawumia, is the most important barometer for determining the strength of the fundamentals of every economy. Said when the exchange rate is weak, when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. The cedi had depreciated by over 14% in 2019. So if you look at all these factors, you realize that Ghana was suffering from serious underlying economic conditions. Just like when human beings contract COVID, if they have underlying conditions like cancer, like whatever, the disease becomes aggravated as a result of the underlying conditions and not the mere fact that they are suffering from COVID. It is the same thing which has happened to Ghana. So you realize that some people get COVID and they only suffer from a flu and headache and fever. Others get it and it kills them because of the underlying conditions. It has killed Ghana because the underlying conditions were bad. Again, when you get the COVID as a human being and you go to the hospital early and you are treated and you are given drugs and you take the drugs as you ought, you realize that you mitigate the impact on yourself as a human being. I'm just using this scenario to explain this simple economic situation for you. But if you don't take your drugs as you ought, you don't go to the hospital on time, you suffer. So how you manage the COVID is important. We were struck with COVID. According to government, they needed only 12 billion cedis to manage this COVID. But as a result of COVID, they had as much as 30 billion, more than they needed to manage COVID. In fact, 18 billion more than they needed.
But they also had to revise their revenue downwards.
The revenue shortfall was 14 billion. Even if you deduct that from the 18 billion, COVID has answered. So, if they had managed it well, we will not be here. Rather, the Auditor General tells us about how this COVID-19 became a bonanza for people to steal from the states. He speaks about contracts which were awarded to companies, payments made for the education of school children on COVID-19 protocols. The education was never done, yet payments have been made. Equipments which have been diverted, monies which have been misappropriated. That is what you did. Then lastly, how you manage your economy in the midst of that COVID is important. Okay? So, you don't say that because you are suffering from COVID, if you were spending Akohoma, 100 Ghana cedis on Akohoma, now you are going to do 500 Ghana cedis.
What is that?
The money you give your wife, chop money. You understand? You give your wife every day. You don't say that because I'm sick. Honey, every day you use 200 Ghana cedis to prepare live soup for me. You only buy good. But this time around, because of COVID, give me adjene, give me enwa, give me kutudwe, give me this. You understand? Because of COVID. For COVID, where did they? That is what they did. COVID has come. We have an election to win. So let's use COVID as a pretext to spend recklessly. And how do you determine that? You determine that by looking at the budget deficit. So you realize that whereas Cote d'Ivoire and all these countries surrounding us, Burkina, Togo, Nigeria, were living within their means and were recording deficits of less than 8%, some less than 7%. Because despite COVID, those countries were spending responsibly. We were spending recklessly. So much so that we recorded budget deficit of 15.6%. That is the reason why we are in this mess. You have had 3 oil fields. You've had more monies than all governments from Nkrumah to Mahama put together. Over 820 billion Ghana cedis. You've had all these monies. And 2020, you kept blaming COVID. 2021, you kept blaming COVID. 2022, you kept blaming COVID. 2023, you kept blaming COVID. COVID, I am there. When we are still paying COVID levy, tell me in which country today are the people paying COVID levy imposed on them by their government? A disease that you claim has come to kill us, kill our businesses, impose hardships on us, that you're supposed to cushion us against. You have imposed a very useless and needless tax on us. Okay? COVID levy. That you say, all the things you gave us, which you already borrowed for, you are imposing a levy on us to take the money back from us. We are still paying it, and you keep on blaming COVID. You see, you people should credit Ghanaians with some intelligence and begin to show us some respect and candor. This attitude of not accepting responsibility for anything will not help you. Ghanaians are far awake. Ghanaians are discerning. They appreciate the global situation better. Whether it is about our debts, our growth, our inflation rate, as I've shown you per figures, we are doing far, far worse than the sub-regional averages, the regional averages, and the global averages. Right. And so please, begin to amend your ways by, first of all, accepting responsibility for your failure and being candid about where we stand. You have not turned the corner relative to the economic mess we find ourselves in. We are rather seeing a deterioration of many of the economic indicators. Even for the few that we are seeing some relative stability in, like the exchange rate and the inflation rate. It is like the exchange rate, for example, very artificial. Clearly, if you are not servicing your debts, your external debts, because you are not now spending dollars in paying your external creditors, you have artificial dollars to show up.
That's also an economic strategy.
Well, but if you borrow money to build a house and you don't pay the debts, the house is not for you. One day it can be taken from you. So reality check can set in if we don't do the right things. Thank you.
Okay. So just briefly. Yeah. So just hold on. My conversation with the Minerals Commission is coming up. But what I'll do is that I'll still 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
Because you are in government, I'll give you 3. And I'll give Sami 2. No, because you are in government. I'm giving you 3.
I thought 5 is good. You thought you was 5 for the 2 of us.
Advantage of incumbency.
Thank you.
Are you going to count the 3?
Yes, 3 minutes.
after having spoken for 1 hour. No, see, I'm happy. Finally, Sami is back from the fishing expedition.
Okay.
The simple thing you want us to talk about is the budget. But he's gone all over the place. Sami's life today is easy because all he had to do is wake up from his bed, come here and think about some bad words to use. And that's it. That's his communication. But this is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. He didn't say anything. Literally. What is the idea? The NDC, whose communication officer he is a potential political party going into 2020 election, is seeking to win election. What is the idea Sami is putting forward? In fact, Syria, former finance minister Setekwe will not be happy with him making the argument he's making here about projection. So therefore, when you make a projection, you revise your projection, then it means that what? you are mismanaging the economy. Very, very dangerous situation. And again, Sami is behaving, I think he forgot he's a lawyer. He's acting like he's a doctor. Talking like if you go to hospital, you are given medicine, you are doing. What is he talking about?
Medical doctor.
Medical doctor. Okay. Yes, thank you. A medical doctor. Prescriptions and everything. It's terrible. Very, very terrible. Look, all Sami had to do is to read paragraph 84 of the budget statement or the speech the minister read. And you will see that first quarter GDP was 4.2. Compared to last year, it was 3%. He all had to do was that. And the fact that he hasn't done that tells me that he came here today just to come and mislead and misinform Ghanaians. The way Sami is acting is like, and he said I should go and learn English, I'll do that. But he's just behaving like a kid whose candy has been taken from him. All he's doing is that if you tell them this is the thing, so by you two, you criticize us. What is the meaning of this? They are a potential political party who could win power and become a government. What are they proposing? And I told you earlier on when I was creating the context for you is that the parallel conversation in the country we're having is that NDC has refused to accept any reality at all, behaving like we live in isolation. I'll give you this document. If you want to print a copy for it, but I'll give you the soft copy. Read it and you understand the context of the global economic situation affecting Ghana, affecting the sub-region. So please, quit doing that. Look, Senior, I believe that when the finance minister said we have turned a corner, there's a basis for it. Sami just demonstrated to me he has not read the budget statement. So he didn't see paragraph 84, which says that GDP was 42 first quarter and 3 compared to 3% in 2022. That GDP growth indicates that your economy is regenerating. You look at the inflation numbers that he is trying to exaggerate about that, oh, is a trajectory and all of that. What is the rate of growth? It was 0.5 from May to June, which tells you it's slowing down. Okay? And the exchange rate that he's talking about, when finance minister talks about we are turning a corner, see, the exchange rate depreciation for this half year is 22.1. But when you look at it closely, you see that the balance of that depreciation happened in January. From February all the way to July as we speak, the depreciation is about 2%, 1.84%. That tells you some relative stability. Stability compared to where we were in 2022, where we were north of 50% depreciation in 2022. So it means that it tipped, or actually peaked in January 2023, and then began to stabilize. So that long period of stability tells you you are turning a corner. Sami, if you don't know, that's what it means. So please, I want to appeal to Ghanaians to look past this power-seeking communication of the NDC led by my brother Sami Gyamfi. They are not saying anything. All they are doing is to leverage on the fears of Ghanaians, to weaponize the genuine concerns which is brought by the global economic difficulty. Government has considered that we have agreed that there are difficulties, but we are working out of it. And the NDC, in the absence of any solution, they are only optimizing or trying to appeal to the fears of Ghanaians to create the impression that nothing is working. Okay. We have turned a corner and will build forward. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Look, the MPP can invent their own words and invent their own meanings of those words and phrases and synonyms. But as I've simplified this issue of turning the corner, it's simple. It just means to recover. The facts don't show that Ghana's economy is recovering. The facts are clear. We did growth rate of 3.1% last year. We are projecting to do 1.5% this year. We did non-oil GDP growth of 3.2% last year. We are projecting to do 1.5%. We projected at the beginning of the year that we will end the year with gross international reserves of 3 weeks of import cover, right?
3 weeks or 3 months?
No, what was it? 3 months or so. Yeah. Currently, they have reviewed it again downwards to 0.8. Let me just get you
it's a projection, so I'm not sure
0.8. No, but the projection shows what governments consider to be real in terms of the medium term. What government thinks they can, achieve.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
Yes, gross reserves we projected 3.3 months. at the beginning of the year, 3.3 months.
Yeah.
Now we have reviewed it to 0.8.
Less than a month.
Less than a month. That is 3 weeks.
So that's by 1 month. But this
no, 1 month. No, 3 months to 3 weeks.
It's projection.
No, 3 months to 3 weeks.
To help
this is mere projection. Then why are you revising it?
The reviews, the mid-year projections are more accurate.
Exactly.
Than the
because
ones
you now
that
have
made in
a real picture of what the economy is likely
of the
to.
first
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then inflation, we said we're going to do 18.9% by the end of the year. We've increased it to 31.3%. Bear in mind that the average for West Africa is 14%. We are doing more than double the average. So if somebody tells you that, we have turned the corner, it is simply not true. Just look at your own conditions of living. When you go to the market, the rice you buy, the kenke you buy, okay? When you go to the market, Joy News has been doing a certain research on the cost of cooking jollof in Ghana. The materials, the cooking ingredients for jollof. Go and check the tomatoes, the onions, the pepper, the money you spend on that. Have you seen any improvement? If you are not seeing any improvement, and you are being told that the corner has been turned relative to your conditions of living or the economy, know that you are being insulted by a group of people who are not sensitive to your plight and who simply do not care about you. They are a bunch of liars who don't want to accept responsibility, okay, and the truth about where we stand. And so long as they continue on this path, we are not going to see any significant improvement.
Okay.
But they are not ready to change.
Do you know? We have to go. Do you know?
They are not ready to change.
Is that Kojo
Chubafo? Normally he sends some tests when people are sweating on their forehead.
Oh no, he's busy.
Who is sweating?
He's busy.
Who is sweating here?
He's busy worrying over you.
You're not making a mockery of yourself, you know.
You know, guys. You know, Auntie Muniwachi.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't eaten.
You never been there.
You don't know where it is. I eat it a lot.
You don't know where it is.
I know where it is, but I've not.
So you know where it is.
Yes,
I eat it a lot.
So you see, there's a street in front of the Antimony Junction.
That's celebrity watching.
Yeah, the Antimony Junction. There's a street. There's a street in front of it. Okay, there's a curve. There's a curve on that street. Yeah, try making that curve.
Up next, the middle. You are trying to say.
My son, there's more blessing in giving than receiving. When you fear for you and cover the makers in
The pneumatological abrasion of the Lord revealeth unto me this night that me and my household should go out into the world and bless the world.
Makers Electronics Company Limited. Up to 67% discount. Our selected appliances.
This is what I call quintessential immaculatability.
The Makers Electronics Company Limited. Taifa Burkina Highway. Amasama Zongo Junction. At the K Pharmacy Dining. Oyer Fateman Boga Junction. Ashaman Valco Flat. Kumasi. Ahinema Kokobin. Asafubuachi Hospital Junction. Takradi. Number 9 Market.
Tell mom and dad about the Makers Blessing Attack program
from 0552 222 253 and 0552 222 254. Terms and conditions apply.
For over 20 years of serving the world with herbal and alternative medicine, we've been successful in treating complicated medical conditions with a perfect combination of herbal and alternative methods of treatments like homeopathy, naturopathy, reflexology, and many more. We deliver excellent and effective service to people from all walks of life through scientific and traditional means. We have a well-equipped laboratory with advanced diagnostic and treatment devices to help detect your illness so we know the right medication to be given. At Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, we are proud manufacturers of our own herbal medication. Our zeal and passion to save lives with our patients at heart and outstanding achievements since 1996 has won us several awards. That is why we say, go herbal, go amen. We are located everywhere in all the regions. Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allahu Shafi, God is the healer. Metro TV, time to have our conversation with the Minerals Commission about mining in Ghana. And as always, Mr. Martinez, the CEO of the Minerals Commission, is here with me on the show. When I refer to him as a lawyer, he likes me to add the fact that he's an extractive lawyer, mining and oil and gas lawyer as well. Daisy, good morning. Where were you giggling? Oh, you always remind me when I say you're a lawyer, you like me to bring the speciality out.
Since 2022, my whole life has been mining petroleum. I've not done anything else.
2002.
Yes.
For the last 21 years.
2000 and so I was caught in about 2001.
Okay.
So for the past 22 years.
That's all you've been doing.
That's what I've been doing.
The day you retire, you make money.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but how's the commission?
It's all right.
Okay. So last week we dealt with, we tried to finish our issue with the small-scale mining here. And today I want us to look at the some of the opportunities in the mining sector. We've been speaking about them in bits and pieces. But once again, the issue about what this country is really gained from mining comes up. And I always refer to a statement that was once made by Dochini, where he said that if the mining of the minerals will not benefit us, then they rather should remain in the ground. And I'm sure that had to do with the level of degradation and all that. Just before we get onto that, I saw a story. You know, you keep speaking about the kinds of people who are involved in illegal mining, and I just want us to spend some 2 minutes on this one, or a minute. We speak about chiefs and opinion leaders and all that. Now, we're told that pastors are also involved. I've seen a story where they say a pastor has been arrested somewhere in the central region for engaging in illegal mining, Chifu Prasu or something. You arrested? You got him?
Yes, maybe, as you said, in 2 minutes. We have a district office in Asin Fosu. It's been there for decades. So the district inspector, as usual, they go around. As I said, they have pickups, so they go around to monitor operations of small-scale miners within his district. Sometimes he gets intelligence or reports from chiefs or communities. People live in a community that, look, somebody is hiding somewhere or somebody is doing, so they normally go there. these days he has to be careful because sometimes people are well armed or whatever. So he went there. And then he realized that that application didn't come to him because you see, the district officer, even when he wakes up and you ask him a question, he can just tell without going to the field whether an operation is illegal or not. Why? Because the last leg of the processing, what do you call it, the whole processing regime, as far as small scale is concerned, is for him to take you to the field to be sure that, look, this place is appropriate for any responsible mining. So he went there, and the guy didn't have the appropriate, what do you call it, documentation approvers. He stopped him. That you can't do this. You need to complete any process, if any. He ignored. And then, as usual, insults, threatening to attack him, beat him up, and, displaying. That's what some of them do. So typically when issues like that come up, we said, go and speak to the police. So he went there and made a report, and then a guy got arrested. And then he's being processed. So that is it. So you see, that speaks volumes of that fundamental issue that all kinds of people are involved. Yes, so that is it.
All right.
Who are you? He can do whatever you like. Don't come here. He will shoot you and all kinds of things. So that is it. So the process of taking to the judicial system will go on. And then if he's found guilty, of course they'll charge him. Fundamentally, what he was doing was illegal. He didn't have any approval authority to do what he was doing. That's it. The other issues of threats and threat of violence or beating up the officer, that will also be dealt with. So of course the police will file all kinds of charges. So that's how it became news. It's not easy. This is the kind of thing our officers go through. So you can imagine if he had not calculated or gotten his intelligence right, he would have been a dead man. Yes.
All right.
So sometimes they issue the threat, just to look, push you away or don't come here again. But sometimes, depending on the situation, they actually can go ahead and carry it out. So when they get the intelligence, they tell me, I say, don't go there. We will now refer it to the security who are better positioned to deal with where some of them are armed. It doesn't matter whether it's this Kafugbe or these local ones. His life is important.
I'm a Ghanaian. I watch you on Good Morning Ghana. I listen to you on Original FM. And I want to do business legitimately in the mining industry. What do I do and what are the opportunities for me? What opportunities exist for me and what do I do? How do I go about it? What are the opportunities? What do I need to do? How do I take advantage of them?
So you can first walk into our offices, any of our district or regional offices.
Anywhere in Ghana?
Anywhere in Ghana. Or you can just walk to our head office or just go online these days and call our number. We'll pick. Just call the number. I've been saying this myself. Perhaps I'm the only CEO in Ghana whose number is publicly available. Anybody can call me. So you can walk into our district offices, go into our regional offices, and then come to the head office. Now, for now, we have a regional office in Kumasi. We are in Greater Accra. We are in Volta. We are in Upper East. We are in Upper West. We are in Tamale. We are in Savannah. We will soon be in Northeast because the place has become very prospective for limestone and gold. We are in Western region, we are in Western North. And then practically almost all the major towns that are not regional capitals, we are there. So we are in Takwa, we are in Prestia, we are in Obuasi, we are in Akimoda, Akwetia. We are all over the place now, and we are expanding. Areas where we need to put up offices, we will do. Areas that we are in Konongo, where we need to rent, we will also rent with the view of putting up offices. Like, if you like, maybe 20 or so years ago, there was nothing in Ahafo. What is today Ahafo region? Practically nothing there. Then Newmont came in. Today, it will become one of the major mining regions in this country, especially upon completion of the Ahafo North Gold Project, roughly in about a year or two. That is it. Now, for the opportunities, so you see, some just come in and then they don't know what they are about. So we take the trouble.
Recording in progress.
We normally see 3 categories of persons, as far as your question is concerned. Some just walk in because he's heard, oh, maybe there's money in mining, or he has a friend who is making so much money. So they just walk in, and after listening to him, realize that he doesn't know what he wants. So then we take him through. Others come and then they say, no, I want a license to go and mine. Then we ask whether small scale or large scale. Some will say both. And then others will come and say, look, I'm not interested in mining. I want to do some supplies or provide some kind of services. That place is also, big time. So we ask you, what do you want? Some don't know what they want, so we have to explain to them. So we have opportunities for Ghanaians who can pick up licenses to either explore end or mine, either on the large scale or small scale. Then we have opportunities for Ghanaians who want to invest. So this one, I am not interested in picking up a license to do exploration. I'm not interested in picking up a license to mine. But I want to put my money in somebody who has a license. So maybe company A may be exploring all these years, he might find gold or some other mineral. And then now they are looking for money to go into construction and development. So the person will say, okay, I have this money there, I'm putting it in it. And then there are several ways or scenarios that will play out there. He will tell you, if I give you this, you give me equity, I become a shareholder. He might sit back and he may not get involved. Depending on his percentage, he could even put someone near the board. So there are people who can give you money to go into construction and development, or even put exploration. Most people don't like exploration because it's risky. But when you make a commercial find, they can give you money. So he says, I'm giving you money, shareholding. Or I'm giving you money, when you construct, you give me this quantity of gold. So people can do that, and then instead of paying him, you give it to him in gold. Others, you become a shareholder. You understand? Some can also give it to you in the form of a loan you pay back. So even where people are not interested in mining directly, they are not interested in exploration directly, there are 3 ways in which they can invest. I'll buy into it and hold a stake, like the kind of thing Leaf is trying to do. And then you give me equity. Some will say, I'm not interested in equity. I don't want to be a shareholder. I'm going to give you, let's say, $20 million. Give me gold or give me the concentrate. I need it for maybe as a factory. I need that. And then somebody else will tell you, I want to give you a loan for you to go and do your operations, and then you pay me back. So that's where these banks come in. You understand? And these are the areas where we have not done too well, but things are picking up. So institutional investors, okay, they do this across the world. So the likes of SNIT, who I keep saying, it's not that I'm bashing them, because we also, Minas Commission, get bashed when things go wrong. Their report shows they've admitted that all these years, they've not done well with investment in manufacturing. I mean, it's out there, I'm not the one saying it. So many of pension funds across the world, they pour billions into mining projects. Okay? Yes. So, but they do their work very well. So you go to Australia, Canada, US, a lot of companies that are doing what we call here tier 1, 2, 3, even are here 4, when they take their billions, they give it to investors who do their profile and come back to you and say, look, Metro TV, you have maybe 100 workers. Every month or whatever, you are sitting on maybe $10 million of tier 3 or 4 you have created for your 100 staff. So you speak to any of these investors, what do you do with this money? So it's up to them to come back to you and say, look, Randy, or Metro TV, you see these mining companies or these areas, they will do all those things with you. It's quite lucrative, putting money there. And then you give them the authorization, then they go and invest. Okay? So you might see a company that has been set up solely for that. He's holding about $2 billion of monies from various institutions. Okay? So he goes around looking for projects. That is why I get worried and I feel so sad when we talk to people that bring your money, they don't seems to understand, but this forum is very good. And then you
have you made a pitch to institutions like SNEED and those who are in the tier 2,
I'm reaching
tier
out
3.
to them. Randy, you'll be amazed the kind of thing this your program has done for us.
Yeah.
I mean, Ghanaians, the industry, etc. So far, I've spoken to about 7 banks who have approached me.
Okay.
Yes. Some of them are even talking to the companies because they do profile checks on them.
Right.
That look, we've talked to them. Can you vouch for the following? So a lot of them are getting into those space now. And many of these banks in Ghana here are also funding some of the mining companies. They give them money. So I think that is what we have not done well as a nation. Because as a nation over the years, our primary focus has been how do we get investors to come and explore and produce their goods?
External.
But what we have not done very well, and I think some time ago I mentioned it, what we have not done very well is financing of metal projects. If we really want mining to benefit this country, we need to just go beyond just attracting investors, because we are top 4 when it comes to when people get up and they want to come to Africa to come and look for mining investments, there is no way Ghana will not flash on the radar. And I'll tell you why. We have close over, if you like, 100 or more minerals in the world. But let me say this and listen carefully. At least half of worldwide exploration spent. That is, I think my last check is about 7 or so billion last year. The amount of money companies all over the world spend in looking for minerals on exploration worldwide, at least half goes to gold. You need to understand that. That is the statistics out there. If you read S&P Intelligence, at least half of the world exploration budget goes to gold. Then maybe the next 20 or so goes to base metals, particularly copper. So you see, if you're a country and your geology is very prospective for copper and gold, people will be harassing you in court, like DRC. So in spite, that's why when sometimes people say, oh, Africa is risky for investment, I ask myself, what are they doing in DRC? The whole of Eastern Congo is unstable. It's in turmoil. But what are they still doing in DRC? So it tells you geology trumps everything. So if your geology is very prospective for gold and copper, trust me, you get a lot of investment. If you put in the other place, you get the fiscal regime right, the legal regime right, and then your governance is okay, then that's fine. So you see, as a nation, we should also be worried. Like what is happening in Niger is not good for us. So maybe somebody was going to give some $10, $20 million to maybe an investment company in Ghana. And then this Niger who came, he said, oh, West Africa, and then he will stop. Because you see, in the West there's nothing like the way you understand that this is UK, this is Germany, this is France, this is Belgium, this is Netherlands. For them, Africa is Africa. Okay, so what is happening in Niger, affects everybody. You see, and one of the most prolific mining jurisdictions in the world is West Africa. Lots of gold. So now we are designing our policies to make sure that we get the financing bit right. How do we do that? So these are the opportunities. We'll narrow down because we said we'll spend the whole of August.
Yes.
So you can pick up, so to start with 3 categories. First, you can approach us and say, I want to do mining. And then you can start with a market is deep, you can invest in a mining company. So pick up the license, explore and mine. It takes time, it requires a lot of patience. So that's one category. The second category, he says, I'm not interested in mining. I don't want to do exploration and I don't want to be a miner. But I have cash. I'm sitting on big money. Anything between $1 million or even $500,000 to $100 million or more. It could be an institution, a group of investors, or an individual. People can count millions in this country. So he says he wants to invest. One advice I can give you is that, okay, some companies are prepared to take your money. But I need to tell you the difference between exploration and mining. That exploration is risky, at least 5% success of finding the mineral. So most people who have money, tend to move in after you've find the mineral, you declare commerciality, you do feasibility. Then now he knows the thing is there. So again, there are 3 ways. He gives you the money, you give him equity. Whether he'll be 2% owner, 5% or 10%, depends on how much money you are going to give him. Okay? The institutional investors do it big. So that's one leg. Another leg is where he will say, I don't need to be an equity holder. I don't want to be a shareholder. But I need your gold. Or I have a factory that, does steel, whatever. I need manganese ore. So I'm going to give you $20 million. I mean, what they call metal streaming. So I'm going to give you $20 million, put it in your gold mine to do the construction and development. Or if you are an operating mine and you are struggling and you want to expand, you find new reserves, you said you want to raise $50 million. They'll say, okay, I'll give you $20 million. Okay? And then you can raise a 30 somewhere. The guy who's giving you $20 million can tell you that I want that money back in gold. Maybe the other group of $30 million can say, we are giving to you at this interest rate, pay us back. Or, okay, the $20 million, 5% equity. So that is also another area. And then where I want us to focus is all those services and supplies that the mining companies use daily. That is where the problem is. Because, Randy, out there, okay, and I'm sure maybe yourself, you become quite educated now. Very soon you call yourself mining expert. Out there, the image out there, 31 million Ghanaians, except those who are in the industry, is that mining is taking place in certain areas in Ghana. You ask a child in primary school, maybe at least they can mention Obuasi or Dunkwa or Prestia. They are in the bush somewhere, kind of an enclave economy. They dig their stuff, we hear government has 10%, they take it out raw. If they like, they pay taxes. That is a general impression out there. If you ask me, when I checked the data in 2001, all the receipts the government got, when I say all the receipts, our 10% we gain from dividends if they declare profits. Corporate income tax, which is 35% in the mining industry, by far the highest in the world, one of the highest. The royalty they pay for digging out the mineral, that is right on straight on top because it's not sensitive to profit. Withholding tax, and any kind of tax that GRA may impose, depending on the nature of the transaction, comes close to about $1 billion. So this goes to the Republic, or if you like, the exchequer. Okay, some go to GRA now, MIF holds the dividends part. And then we just found out that about 3 times that is spent on goods and services which they use daily. So they buy fuel, they use lubricants, they acquire machinery, equipment, okay, etc. They pay all services. They hire accountants to look at their books. They get supplies, various from chemicals they use in their lab and all those things. So Randy, if you don't own the mine, if the money is given you for the construction is coming from some investment bank or a bank like Macquarie Bank in Australia or Nova Scotia in Canada, the shareholders are these big players who are listed in Perth, Joburg, Vancouver, whatever. Like this Newmont, this $1 billion, it's going to come from their parent company. You understand that? So these things come from outside. The $3 billion too, you cannot capture it. Okay, so we said until 2019 or so, people come from outside this country, 67 or 63 years of independence, 63 if you like, come and set up petrol stations in all these mining companies that spend so much on fuel. Remember, taxes on fuel are very high, so government makes a lot of money from these mining companies. If I tell you how much they pay GRA, even alone on taxes on fuel, the mining companies, with these new ones coming out, it's a lot of money. So why will you allow a foreigner or a foreign company to come and set up and supply fuel to a mining company in Ghana? There should be something wrong with you if you allow that kind of situation. So 2019, actually 2018, reported in 2019, our budget for fuel was about $100 million. Just about 13 or so leases. That is what the companies filed with the Minerals Commission as the amount of money we use in buying fuel. I've not added lubricants. If you have lubricants for their machines, etc., let's say roughly 200 million. Now, when we said we are stopping foreign companies from supplying directly to the mines. They should go to the other retail sector. We have checked our 2001 report. That is
2021.
2021. So 2 years after we stopped that practice, fuel supply to just some selected mining companies, we look at the big players, is $304 million.
Whoa.
Yes. So what it simply means that, and this done by Ghanaians now, so the money will stay here. Okay? Yes. And that's almost close to like the royalty paid by all the mining companies in the Republic, just fuel. So when you sit down and you don't do anything, and you know how they behave, you do the same thing. If you go to UK now and go and invest, and you're providing certain services, chances are that you look for Ghanaians who are there to provide those services for you. So you don't expect an American company to come here if there's an American bank to use GCB or CB, Agri Development Bank. You don't expect a French company to come and invest in mining here. And you don't expect that they will not use Societe Generale if they are still here. Okay? So they will transfer their millions of dollars to Societe Generale to pay their workers and what do you call it? Give this money to all the suppliers there. So some of the things we have to do, it has to be deliberate, conscious effort to just say no. Like you go to European Union, you go to Japan, you go to America, they have a deliberate policy to give subsidies to agricultural farmers. So we have also gotten up and said, look, you can't allow foreigners to get into that space. You cannot allow foreigners to come and supply lubricants. You cannot allow foreigners to come and provide security to our mines. We will not allow foreigners to come and provide catering services to our mines. 2019, about $26 million was spent on catering services. So you can imagine this new emerging Chinese mine. Don't even bring somebody here to come and do Indomie, if you allow that. Okay? So I put together just fuel and lubricants. It's almost equivalent to royalties paid to government.
Whoa.
Yes.
Just the two.
So the policies we have in place now is to ensure as much as possible the services and goods they procure for their daily operations. Okay? We push them in such a way that these things are done by Ghanaians. Look, I went to Boasi mine with the minister. I was so humbled when I saw that they have given a contract to a Ghanaian company. I mean, when you say Ghanaian company, you got to be careful the way the lawyers talk. If somebody comes to incorporate a company and the shareholders are foreigners, it's a Ghanaian company.
Yeah.
There's a company that
Ghanaian ownership.
Ghanaian ownership, 100% Ghanaian ownership. He's been given a contract to do drilling services underground for Boasi. This is how far some Ghanaians have come. So you see, he's not into exploration. He's not into mining. He has just set up, and when we check his bag and realize that he used to work as a geologist and work for the mining companies, after a while he stopped, put up and set up.
About 20 years ago.
Yes.
About 20 years ago, I was a bit more involved with a mining services company.
Yes.
Engineers and planners.
Yes.
And back then, any time that I went with Ibrahim Mahama around, in that area, that mining services area,
yes,
it was just white South Africans and Australians.
Yes. Yes.
White South Africans and Australians.
Yours is better. Randy, let me tell you something. I always say this, and I have that. I still have that in my letter. 2nd April 2002. I was employed at Minerals Commission as an assistant legal officer.
Okay.
How many years ago?
21.
22 years ago. I think my chief executive then was Mr. Bernard. He's still around. In fact, he's now an advisor to the minister.
Okay.
We go for meetings, and you see white faces.
Yeah.
Predominantly Canadian, Australian, and America.
South Africa.
Now Chinese. South Africa after the collapse of apartheid, yes, so they came in a lot. And even middle level technical, engineers were whites. Randy, it is not the case
today.
At least I can say that. So I'll give you one of my favorite examples. You go to Takwa. There's a mine. There are two big mines there. Takwa Goldfields, Takwa, owned by gold fields, which is the sixth biggest producer of gold in the world. They have the huge Takwa mine. It's the second largest now. It's been eclipsed by the one in New York.
I was there when they opened their catalytic plant many years ago.
Yes, that was 2003. That was those days when we were learning mining contracts and co. Yeah. Just, if you like, let's use the word sharing war is Iduaprim.
Where we landed, which used to be their airstrip, I'm told is no more. They're mining gold there.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, gold is everywhere. So the next door is Iduaprim. So they're just neighbors. You know, these two are trying to come together to form the biggest gold complex in Africa.
Whoa.
Now, Iduaprim has 714 full-time workers. From MD, I don't know how they will classify their last person. Is it gardener or cleaner? 100% Ghanaian.
All 714.
It is a large-scale mine, big mine. They do over 200,000 ounces of gold. Price of gold this year has averaged 1,100 at least. Do the math. Even $1,000 is how much? That's about 200. So that is it. The last MD was sent away 2019, South Africa. He's gone. So they headhunted a Ghanaian who was brought from Australia. So we always tell them in our database, if you cannot get a Ghanaian here or poach him from another mine, because you see they move around a lot. Let me say this: mining engineers and geologists, we call them prostitutes. Okay, he moves. He's in Obuasi, then he's poached by Newmont.
They're like radio presenters.
Yes, radio presenter. It's worse in the mining sector. Okay, so they brought the guy. So large scale mine. So I'm so humbled by that. It's not only thing. Most of the mines have 95%. What do you call it? Ghanaian. Ghanaians run all the mines. Almost all the CEOs. Predominantly are Ghanaians now. And there are some rules that we have put specifically in the law will not allow a foreigner. Now, if you go to any mine in Ghana, the person who runs the mine, I don't know, are you the general manager here or whatever? Like a typical TV station.
You have an MD or CEO.
The MD, you are just like but you see, at the
operations person.
The person who runs the
like
mine,
the general manager.
Let's use the army. The army commander. He leads the war, okay? You take instructions from the generals and the security council and co. It's the army commander that leads the battle. Now in the mine, we call the person the mine manager. The mine manager. So if it's an open pit or a surface operations, yes, or underground. Now, in Ghana today, under Ghana's law, a mine manager cannot be an expatriate. It's not possible. And even it is not everybody who is a mine manager that can. So for example, you have to be certified. You see the way the accounting people do. So the fact that you have gone to a mining engineering school, you have a degree in mining engineering, you have worked like 20, 30 years in even all the best mines in the world. If you don't hold a mine manager certificate, approved the chief inspector of mines, even if you have mine captain, you are the best. You can't do it like a chartered accountant. You can. It's only a chartered accountant who can sign a report. You know that. Yes. So even if you're a mine manager, you have a mine manager certificate, and you don't have that one underground, you cannot. We cannot allow you. So a mine manager, general manager, these are all Ghanaian rules. At least this is not history. I'm telling you, I saw them. Okay, I saw them. You go to the clubhouse, you find a lot of whites and all those things. So Ghanaians are running the show. Today we tell them when they bring a request for an expatriate, we normally ask for two things. This is a Ghanaian who go and hide. Okay, then advertise. Or these days we have a database, we give them the database. Or go to Australia. Or there are Ghanaians all over, what do you call it, West Africa. Okay, there was a Ghanaian general manager who sojourned all over the sub-region. He's back. He's been around like 2-3 years. He's just left for another company somewhere in another West African country. So the technical expertise is world class. There are thousands of Ghanaians in Australia, even middle level. So we have done marvelously well as a nation when it comes to technical skills. I just want to be pushing for things, and then we'll be fine. Now,
let's shift your 4 things to next week.
Oh, but I can just summarize.
Okay.
I'll just mention them next week.
Mention that next week we go deep
we'll go into details. There are some 4 things that if we get very well, then we can talk about Joburg, we can talk about PEF, we can also look like Canada and all those things.
What are these 4?
The first one is we need to aggressively as a nation, and of course it's coming from Minerals Commission we've started, aggressively pursue the financing of mining operations or ventures locally.
Okay. Domestic financing.
Domestic financing, let's raise the billions here. That is number one. So that's the next high level policy we put in place.
Right.
That you can do it through listing. We'll do the details next week. The second one, the forward march on local content should continue.
Okay.
Increasingly preserving more areas for Ghanaians.
So when we get there, we'll look at how far we've come and what is left.
So that is one.
Okay.
The other one, which is our biggest headache, in fact, in Africa, is value addition.
Okay. So that's three.
Time has come for us to start taking these things raw.
Okay.
Perhaps the last one,
yes,
which, let me repeat, and I will close the program on that, even though I'm not the producer, which, if we do very well, could actually solve the unemployment situation, is almighty small-scale mining, which is taking place in 13 regions and supporting livelihoods of about 3 million.
So we're talking about a strategy on small-scale mining.
Yes, I mean, we will just have to soldier on. So small-scale mining, value addition to all these minerals, and then
local content, domestic financing.
And then we will have to increasingly educate these banks, pension funds, companies, even Metro. If you have some $5 million on your 334, put it in mind. Okay. And then maybe above, or if you like the fifth one, we will need to remap the entire country again.
Remap.
Oh yeah. So if we
is it a geological map?
The geological mapping, because that one I'm very crazy about it, particularly regarding to the small scale mining. Because if you say they should not go to the water body, which is fine, we shouldn't allow them. You got to find a place for them.
Okay. All right. So are you tired of compromising on the quality of your furniture? Look no further. With Gracefield Ventures, you're guaranteed top-notch products that are not only beautiful but also built to last. With over a decade of experience, Gracefield Ventures is being the ultimate destination for office and home furniture, creating living and working spaces that exude charm and sophistication. From luxurious sofas that cradle you in comfort to sleek swivel chairs that elevate your productivity, we have it all. Go on, visit our plush showroom at the heart of Kisem and Accra from Monday to Saturday, and you can reach Gracefield Ventures on 0501 672 776 or 0501 672 777. Gracefield, bringing world-class furniture and exceptional service right to your doorstep. And you were speaking about your appointment letter dated April
2nd April 2002.
Okay, so somewhere in December 1997, a man gave me my appointment letter for my second job in the media. 1997 December.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be some 26 years ago. That was my second job in the media. He gave me my appointment letter.
That's when I started law school.
Yes. He was then, I think, 42, inching to 43. Today he's 68.
Okay.
Tommy Annan Fosin. Today is his birthday.
Oh!
Yes. Today's the birthday of Tommy Annan Fosin.
Great man. We used to listen to him.
Yes.
Is it Friday?
Yes.
Friday?
Friday was TV.
GBC Friday?
Yes, when it was on GBC. So from GBC
68.
to multimedia and then to Choice FM.
Oh, he's
68. He's 68
retired,
today.
and I tell him, I said,
he's not retired.
He should bring his money.
He has a show on Asasi Radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has a show on the weekends.
I've not seen his face.
Yeah, that's him.
Wow.
So today, Uncle Tom is 68 today.
Congratulations.
So happy birthday to you, Uncle Tom. Tom at 68, or TF.
But I don't think people remember all these people. I mean, these great guys.
And you remember his line, he says his name, when he mentions his name, he says, Tommy Annan Fosin for short, TF for long.
Yes. I mean, this man, and then there was this guy, I think he's still around. I don't know who is older. Godwin Avenogbo.
Yes, his birthday was a couple of months ago.
Lovely voice.
Yes. His birthday was a couple of months ago.
Big Godwin.
Yes.
And then
Charlie Sam.
There were Charlie Sam alive.
Yeah, I need to check.
So the Charlie Sam, Godwin Avenogbo.
Yes.
Tommy Annan Fosin.
Yes.
And then there were others, some in the area of sports. There were some other lovely guys.
Okay.
You know, when Kwabena Yeboah and Kartufo and Co started. They are still around.
Yes.
But there's these two great guys. I don't know where they are.
Okay.
Papa Pencil.
Yes.
I'm sure he's outside the country.
Yes.
I mean, they were great.
Right.
Moses Foreman is still around.
Yes, he's still
but
around.
I don't see him again.
Right.
So Tommy, congratulations, 68. Congratulations. So he's now working at Asasi Radio.
Yes, he does a show there. I think weekends.
I'll listen to him. Yes.
All right. So you see him in the GBC studio. That picture.
Oh yeah.
You see the black and white picture in the GBC studio. All right. So thanks for joining me once again. And next week, Thursday, we're looking at the big 4. You've expanded it to 5.
Yes.
So we'll look at that. We'll start off with the domestic finance and then we'll look into the other issues. So that'll be it for the morning. Up next, Metro Sports.